live.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the LPL English unofficial Twitch channel as we have moved into the official knockout stage of the first ever Asia Invitational. So welcome everybody to that. We'll be debuting the first match of the day with many more to come. We're starting though with Weibo Gaming taking on Nongshim Red Force, and that would be, as weird as it is to say, your A1 team, Weibo, yes, in front of D plus Kia, and Nongshim, your B2 team going behind BFX. I am joined, as I have been many times, by the only battery, but in a very fun little twist for the first time, I can say, not just as my co-caster, but as my producer. So I have to be on my best behavior today.
I don't have a Slayer mute button on the stream deck, but I might by the end of game. We'll see. Yeah, it's been a fun ASI though. I'm gonna kick it real quick to how we got here if somehow you missed out.
I'm either talking to you all, or you are really soaking in the standings on your own. At some point. Oh, okay, hello. This is how we got here, everybody. So you can see, it's very intriguing to see that. Actually, I'm now realizing these are wrong. These are wrong. Yes.
What do you mean these are wrong? Oh, because Weibo should be first.
Yes. So Weibo is first. Everyone, the Group B is fine. It's very funny though. No matter either it was the first or second tiebreaker, put Weibo at 1.
Yeah.
So because they had the head-to-head over DK. So that's why they're 1.
Everybody at home, just be ready for the audio. We're gonna check if the bracket stage has not only our correct mics, but also the music is too loud. So everybody, get ready. We're gonna send it to the bracket now.
Here we go. Hi, chat. Can you hear me or not?
All right, I get to keep my job.
Okay,
Let's go.
Okay. Chat, you can't hear me. All right, yeah, so this is correct. This is how the ASI playoffs bracket looks. The one thing I want to make clear here that is not apparent on this bracket that I've said a couple times before, up until that very top right part of your bracket, we are playing best of 3s. Best of 5 only comes when we get to that grand finals of the first ever ASI.
There you go. Yeah, I think it's a really short tournament. As you can see, for tonight's matchups, we're going to play both of these quarterfinals and the semifinals at the top there. So winner of these next two series, I should say, are going to be making it forward. All right, let's check the live view. Do I get fired? Yes.
Hey, guys, it's me, your caster. Yeah, so these are the rosters in front of you. We just have to course correct a little bit. Listen, it's LPL off season. We didn't know the ASI was happening until recently. It's been all hands on deck. We've put together a memorable day of casts. Unless you're Cubby. They've been so not memorable enough for Cubby that he fell asleep multiple times. We did miss the rosters there, but we can go through them at least. I think for the most part, everyone should be pretty aware of what you're thinking about with the Weibo side, right? Especially if you're an LPL English fan, all you people not joining, or they've not been a part of LPL English for a while, this is the LPL channel, so we do bring some of that bias. That roster is obviously going to be Breathe in the top side, Tien in the jungle, Xiaohu down in the mid lane. You've got Light and then Crisp to round out that bot side. And then quickly, the Nongshim roster, Kingen in the top side, Gideon at jungle, Calyx in the mid lane, Jiwoo at AD carry, and Lehen's at support, which we're now
I think we're going to see it right here.
Yeah, right after I said it.
There you go. See, look, it just means that we're on perfect timing here, okay? We're doing good for ourselves. We're still doing fake walkouts here at Cancun Worlds. But tonight is going to be an important couple of series here. Not only is it our quarter and semifinals, but we're going to be seeing the only LPL representative here in the top 4 playing up against potentially 3 of the other LCK teams. Not too unsurprising to see all of LCK make it, but pretty disappointing that it is only one LPL representative.
Yeah, and unfortunately for, these LPL representatives, they kind of have themselves to blame. And I don't really care what NIP's record was. I'm counting them as 0-3. in my heart because they should have been.
Yeah, they should have lost the Vikings game and then be through game 1 versus Nongshim, and it's just been downhill since.
I just wanted to get my take on the Vikings NIP series out there because I've not returned to the casting desk since that happened. So I want to get that one out of the way because that was still a wild one. But let's set expectations here for this series, right? All talking about our two teams because the fun part about the knockout stage is these matchups haven't happened yet. And as we get a look at Kingen, I think is very interesting to talk a bit about the top lane matchups because Kingen has had some otherworldly MVP performances. I will always remember the Aatrox MVP he gets playing his own skin. And then Breathe, I think not the Breathe that I felt to call Mr. Consistent at a lot of points of the LPL. So I think top lane will be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, we even got to see it, I think, in the Weibo versus JDG series, where unfortunately it was still JDG taking over a 2-0, but it really felt like Breathe was pretty muted. Whether or not he'll have that same impact playing against a player like Kingen is going to be something different, because Kingen back in the LCK was a big driving force for why we saw this team perform in the way that it did. But in the same ways that he can be very influential on side lanes and try to be that lane counterpick player, sometimes he has fallen apart, and for teams, catching him out on side lanes is a big win condition sometimes.
Grasshopper time.
Here we go.
Favorite moment. Let's see. This young Grasshopper has been very LCK coded, I will say. But also, if we're being really rudimentary here, most of the time I've seen the Grasshopper pop up on the left side of the box. He is currently chilling on the left side of the box. So does he just walk up and lead Weibo's side? I think that's a Weibo win. Good start for the only non-LCK team.
Thank you, Godgwol. You will not lie to me today. This will just be a 100% factual, correct prediction. I think it would be very Weibo of them to come in, lose 2-0 versus JDG, and then suddenly we're beating up on GAM and D plus Kia. Look, I need Weibo. I think Weibo doing it, and because they're the only LPL team here, I'm going to be rooting for them, even if it hurts.
Yes. Yeah, it will sting, but as I know very well with my own sports allegiances today, I've already seen people in chat talking about it. I'm okay, guys, but this is how esports this is how fandom works. It hurts a lot of the time, but you got to stick to your guns. And us here, that is the LPL representatives, and that is now going to be Weibo, unfortunately. Well, I don't want to say unfortunately. That's a little mean. Listen, there was a lot of really good positives to take away from that D plus Kia series. And my question to you is, what would you like to see them transition from that 2-0 win up against a Nongshim opponent that they want to be?
2-0. 2-0 Nongshim as well. That's what I want to see. Transition a 2-0 into another 2-0. And then, when they face it off against the winners later today, 2-0 DK plus again. Let's just get it done. Let's get a win on the board here for Weibo. It is going to be the start of our series, game number 1. Weibo on the blue side, getting rid of Azir and the Wukong. I think interesting to try to take those away from players like Calyx and Gideon. More so, I don't think Azir is as blindable as we've seen him in years past, but definitely want to make sure that the up-and-comer Calyx is not on a comfort champion.
Speaking of comfort champions of late, see a Kiana ban from Nongshim. Very smart. Tien has been lethal on this champion, both towards the end of the LPL split, but also we saw him have a pretty good performance in the ASI with this very champion. I still like when he can get those carry champion angles. This will not be one of those games. What I see is Jarvan's already left up. What surprises me is that we don't slam it, and we pick Corki. So this might be the most... Oh, I forgot Oriana's banned. So I still think Jarvan is picked here for Nongshim nonetheless. I think that's a good start.
I think that's fine as well. The Corki just kind of disincentivizes it a little bit. It gives one less target that the Jarvan is going to want to go towards. Especially with Wukong gone, Xin Zhao, Vi, I feel like those 3 champions that we were talking about do definitely gain in priority. The trade here for Nongshim is going to be grabbing themselves the Nico for Lehens. So let's see whether or not they're going to be opting in for that jungle strategy.
Or do they just try to lock down their bottom lane? They're going to pick the Rumble. This is very intriguing. Rumble is good. Very good. But I always like to talk about the Jarvan Rumble combination. It's like the hot pocket, people like to say, something like that. But now you pick the Rumble, and now you give Tien the Jarvan. So maybe I just have too high hopes on Jarvan priority, but I would feel like this would be the jungle swing here for Weibo. And maybe a counter pick here for Breathe. We'll have to see exactly where their allegiances lie in this one as they take up, well, the entirety of the clock to make the pick, and they will lock down the Jarvan.
Yeah, I think that's fine. You and Mazel, man, you guys are both on the Jarvan kick this week. Fair enough. He's a pretty decent champion. Gives you strong team fighting.
I think with Orianna, I think with Orianna, J4 is undefeated. It's like 4-0 or 5-0 in the tournament.
I would be
that is
pretty
with
disgusting
Orianna.
if that's true. Yeah, that is true. So the Alistar here for lane can knock away the Nico, even though it's a little tough. I think more importantly, kind of see what Nongshim are going to go for. I think Alistar makes it so that Nongshim side have to think, okay, well, do we want to go for things like an immobile mage in mid lane, like Victor and the like, get a little bit less enticing here. And we get into the second phase of draft. I wonder if either of our mid laners are thinking about a Sylas this game.
I was thinking the same thing.
It would be very good for Xiaohu, but for Calix's side, I think getting yourself the Alistar ultimate and the Jarvan ult is not all that bad of a trade.
Yeah, and then you have another champion that can kind of try, if you are Nongshim, to dash out of Cataclysm combos and stuff like that. Already for Nongshim, though, I really want to emphasize how strong of a comp. One, this is around team fighting, but more specifically, those more like early to mid-game skirmish-based team fights, right? You have the pick power of a Vi, you have a Nico that's going to get a ton of value with finding these Tangle Barbs, these Pop Blossoms, and then you have the Rumble that really spikes pretty hard on 2 items around those fights, combining these ultimates. You've got Weibo that have a lot more frontline that's going to get a lot more valuable as the game goes on, and a Corki whose value will continue to skyrocket. So looking for pairings for both of those compositions going forward, especially AD carries. I'm curious what hot off his pentakill Jiwoo is looking to play in this one. It will not be the Kaisa to pair as a dive buddy with the Vi. That one is for sure.
This might just be a Jhin angle. I think they are going to need some reliable or not reliable, but I should say like some kind of champions that are going to be looking for an engage. You have some amount of poke, especially if you're going to have an equalizer. Definitely helps as the fight goes on, and just want a resilient laner. Let's see what the pick here is going to be for Nongshim. Or is it still going to be that Sylas? I know we were kind of high on it, but there's still a couple of other champions that we haven't quite seen pop on through. It's going to be the Yunara, which I don't know if I like, but if you see it from Nongshim's perspective, I think they have quite a lot of damage, and as long as they can get all of those buttons in a row, maybe this is a team fight that looks good here for Weibo.
This is definitely a confidence call for Jiwoo, because I'm with you. This is not a normal Yunara draft. It's putting a lot of onus on him to kind of just maybe mechanically outplay some of these team fights, you know, be able to... Wow. Okay, you know what? Never mind. I'm stopping that point immediately. Yunara, unplayable in this game. Good luck with an Ambessa, Galio, Alistar, and J4 coming for this Yunara.
Yeah.
Maybe Nongshim are going to bank on the fact that the other damage dealers will be able to bring the fights home, because I'm praying for my marksman buddy down here, Ulk.
So what is the mid pick here going to be for Calix? Has to be an AP mage. Already has the LeBlanc and the Aurora Band. Ooh, we're going Renekton mid into this. Now, is this going to be some swap shenanigans? Because Renekton is a traditional counter pick. I don't think you want to send the Galio into the Rumble, though. So I think this is just going to be Renekton mid. Now, I don't like this draft here. As funny as it is, I think that Nongshim are incredibly telegraphed with what plays they can make. They're very short-ranged outside of the Vi ultimate, and now you're going to have to be playing as a bunch of melees or shorter-ranged characters into Alistar, into Galio. That sounds like a rough proposition in my mind, including the Ambessa and the Jarvan.
Yeah, I think this is, as much as we talked about the Kingen versus Breathe matchup and where they both have been at in this tournament, I think this is a wondrous setup for Breathe to play this game out if he can get ahead, right? You talked about how crazy of a front line, how short range. It's the fact that Galio and Alistar can really help set up this Ambessa to fly through a lot of these team fights. And Light, obviously, on this Corki, if he can Valkyrie out of a lot of these Cataclysms, I think his damage value is going to be pretty high. And that's for a guy in Light that we've talked about a lot as the years come down for Weibo, as just not really being consistent in his performances, and we saw that in the ASI a couple of times here as well. I think when we talk about which AD carries have a better time surviving, getting through all their spells and team fights, especially for a Corki that kind of just needs to rely on those spell rotations, not necessarily elongated fights like the Lunara, Light is in a pretty prime position as Weibo are going to look to try and overcome some Nongshim trickery with their solo lane draft here in Game 1 of our knockout stage.
All right, let's see if my buttons are right. Let's send us into game. 3, 2, 1. Never mind. See, I didn't click it. Good thing I didn't click it here. This is also Calix's first Renekton game of his career. So,
okay.
I think that's a pretty interesting shout. Has a lot to do if he's going to get over Xiao. And there we go. Let's get head in over game. Let's see if the audio sources are correct.
All right. Now we get to start testing audio as we hit back onto Summoner's Rift here. And we get a... Oh, we're going to have to adjust this this viewing. This is a very Weibo-favored viewing right now. You know what? You know what? This is kind of on brand for us at LPL English, honestly.
Oh, it's too big.
Yeah, it's too big. I was hoping you could you could hear me while you. Okay, Alk's on it. Alk's on it. We'll get it. Okay, level 1 is already chaos. Oh, Calix, why are we here? Okay, he's gonna flash over. So we trade Crisp and Calix flash. Okay, all right. Well, they are sending the Galio into the Renekton, but now already Xiaohu is very happy with the help that Calix and, well, kind of a Crisp has allowed him comfort in this lane. And, well, making their way back towards the bot lane. I don't think they even lose a whole lot for that. So, a little bit of a blunder there.
This is great coming on through here for Weibo. The matchup in mid might be slightly tougher, but with him not having flash, it makes it even easier. Already down to a third of his HP, and Tien can make an entrance early. I think the only thing that might be kind of stopping this right now is the vision coverage. Weibo getting early wards on enemy Raptors, going to try and spot out Gideon, but Nongshim doing the same, and by knowing that camp is up and available, it's allowing for Calix to have a little bit of safety, at least for the next few moments.
Yeah, not going to see, not going to see any crab fights coming in from Tien and Gideon, but Tien is going... Oh, he doesn't get spotted here. Calix has no idea. This gank should be first blood if Tien doesn't time the flag and drag like that. Calix is very fortunate that he kind of just wiggles on out of that gank he had no idea was coming.
Okay. Does get to enter into bot side, has prio from mid. Bot lane is kind of stuck in the middle of the wave. Does Tien actually want to go for this? No, he's going to try and see if he can force onto Jiwoo.
Ooh, good sidestep from Jiwoo. No knockup, and Tien now takes a bit more punish coming out of that gank. And tempo-wise, he is very behind the ball here compared to Gideon. Gideon is going to get his entire first clear done as Tien starts on his Krugs, so that's bad.
Yep, finishing his blue buff now, and he's going to be here a little bit before the timer. Might even actually have enough time to either invade or just straight up try to deny some of these camps. The push on bottom lane is also going to help. Lehen's going to be able to overextend himself here and get double red buff. So Gideon in a very good spot. Don't think it'll change too much for the timer around the grubs in 4 minutes, but if Gideon can maybe squeeze a little bit more XP...
Okay, Chris re-engages onto Gideon. The red buff hasn't been taken. Flash Talk comes across to Xiao, who gets onto 2 members. They're trying to just burn through Gideon's health bar. Doesn't flash out the flag and drag. Light's over the wall. Calix picks up the first blood, but he is very low, and Light is relatively untouched and ignored in this one. No flash for the Croc, and it's just going to be a matter of seconds. Oh my god, Light starts the back. He didn't even want the kill. He wants the reset instead. Weibo successfully defend their bot side jungle.
And there was no scuttle taken there by Gideon, so immediately you see Tien, he's going to skip towards the top side, maybe even just finish a full clear on top side with his Gromp and his Wolves, and all of this advantage that Nongshim was able to get in the early parts of this game, kind of neutered at this point. It is just Lehen's now sticking around. Xiaohu can be here. Whoa, whoa,
That is the shortest flag and drag you have ever seen in a competitive League of Legends game. Tien throws the thumbs up as the full taunt combo goes on to Gideon, who is just completely homeless in this game by this point. Already down 20% HP. Tien's going to re-engage on top of Lehen's as well with the flag and drag. And here's that beefy CC oriented front line. Tien flashes after Lehen's. He's just bopping him with his staff. guesses right on the clone, waiting for his cooldowns, but the Tangle Barb comes up first, Flag Drag comes across, and Tien, when we thought he was baited out of his jungle, is now 2-0 ahead.
And he gets okay. All right, guys. Let's get a remake. Let's get a remake, guys. 3-0 Jarvan at 5 minutes. Oh boy, that's tough. All right, let's send it back to us for a little bit while we're waiting.
Wow, Ulk, what's the breakdown? I think I talked for like a whole minute through that whole jungle sequence.
I think Tien is actually the GOAT. He is so strong now. He gets 3 kills. He's gonna get a respawn Krug camp away from this Vi, and he still has all of his bottom side camps, which is a little bit weaker. He still has his level 1 red buff available to him, but all in all, I think that Nongshim trying to opt into some of those early plays. Nico is strong early, yes, but we didn't really have enough of that crowd control. We don't have the HP to be able to play with early on, like an Alistar or even of Jarvan. So, wow, Weibo were able to do that with some lag. Imagine what happens if they had like 30 MS or something.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. As I know we had the LCP teams both dealing with network instability. I didn't spy this was happening to our LPL teams yet, but this is the nature of that remote broadcast. No, yeah, I'm with you. I think Nongshim kind of started to panic a bit, trying to correct that bottom lane mishap. Where again, this composition is very much about when these ultimates come up. You pick the Renekton mid for the Dominus. You pick the Nico for the Pop Blossom. You pick the Vi for the Cease and Desist. So falling behind is never great, but you have all this agency in your comp to fight really hard on ultimates. So putting yourself further behind like this is treacherous. And it's actually not Tien that's 3-0, but it's for a good reason here, Ulk. He's only 2-0 because Light picked up one of those kills. So Light on this Corki as well gets some goal going for himself. Weibo are kind of on cruise control right now, and it's also so funny that all this chaos happens in a game where we set a Renekton mid to try and counterpick a Galio. Like, all of the win is taken out of this, like, wacko draft we had from the Nongshim side on R5.
It's very tough, and when we kind of look at the rest of the game, Renekton is basically going to be a frontliner for this team that's going to help allow for Yunara to get time in this game, to get those unleashed stacks, use her ultimate, and become transcendent, basically win a team fight for them. Because outside of that, it's really you're relying on Rumble and Yunara for a large portion of your damage once we get into like the 25-30 minute mark, and I think that becomes a bit treacherous for this team. So hopefully we get into the game rather soon, but when I'm looking at the start of this, I feel like Tien now, I don't think they'll be able to make that dive on the top side as we were kind of thinking maybe that was going to be the case, but Jarvan's going to be, I talked about that Calyx was going to be, or that Gideon was going to be accelerated. Tien might hit level 6, like maybe a camp before, or like a little bit sooner than the opponents are expecting.
And I know for Weibo fans that it's a little bit bittersweet seeing Tien play so well in this tournament now, especially against these LCK teams, knowing what Weibo had at stake, you know, about a month ago by this point, so a couple weeks ago. But this is still really positive signs for, and these were kind of showing at points. Again, I think I've did a decent job preaching Tien's ability to kind of reinvent himself as the front of the spear for this team in a lot of ways. I know Ulk has described it as he does a lot of the dirty work well. I think there's no example that was better shown there by perfectly predicting how Gideon was going to go about that bot side invade, right? Because you don't know if he goes for the Raptors, if he goes for the red buff. He could have walked in towards that red buff and got blown up first, and that shut down the whole thing. But to see a path around the fog, use the blast cone to get to his Raptors, then figure out that means Gideon's on his red buff, it's just only things a player of Tien's caliber and resume would know to do. And while Weibo would definitely like to be playing in a different international tournament, for it to be showing up now against a region that they are not well known for going against is a great thing.
I like the idea that this is only possible because Tien's the GOAT, and we were just scrubbing the minute before where we saw him do the short change EQ, and Gideon also Vault Breaker like past him. Everybody missed skill shots.
Well, that was lag. That was lag for Tien, remember? Tien was lagging. Gideon, I don't know what the excuse for Gideon is.
Please, Weibo, your social media manager's already yapping a little bit on Twitter. Let's get the games on. Can we get a cam on the Grasshopper? You think that's possible?
The peeking on the Grasshopper. I have failed my duty. I was tracking the Grasshopper win rate. I have failed to do that, mainly because I, to be honest, started sleeping during most of these ASI broadcasts ever since the last couple of days. So, Grasshopper was on a bit of a heater, though. Oh, here we go.
Oh, game.
Network is stabilized. And Tien. Oh, you were right. I was wrong. You know what? This is why Alk's such an
I was getting gaslit
mind.
for a 0, dog. I was
You
like,
were.
whatever, I'll just let it happen. I didn't see that. I was like, maybe I didn't see it. Breathe,
okay.
breathe.
Just flashed back towards the enemy turret because he thought Chris would get over the wall in time. But it seems like he stalled out long enough. Good punt out from Chris Tien, and Chris took 3 turret shots, by the way, just to make sure Breathe doesn't die. And yeah, you know what, Chris? You earned that one, big dog. 4th kill in a row for Weibo.
All right, so what camps can Gideon get? He got Dragon, and he's going to look to try to invade. Xiaohu is just here to make sure Raptors are not getting started. He's pinging on a red buff. You should see some visuals here. Red buff is going to get pushed off.
What's going on?
Wow, Gideon gets nothing out of this trade. Like, it actually would have been better for Tien if Gideon had taken some of these camps so that they can start to rubber band in terms of golden experience. These are still level 1 Raptors, Red, and Krugs, but Gideon gets nothing on the back end of that, so Weibo get to start off this game 4-1. They get a 1,500 gold lead, and they've already set behind the top side of the map.
At least for Gideon, he does sneak away that dragon. I think that is very valuable with everything that's happening on the top side. But yeah, I mean, it's a 1K gold lead for the jungle alone here. Tien, it's gonna be Tunneler 2 longswords. Gideon's not gonna look to take a reset to try and match that. Is Ruby Crystal and longsword for a bit. He still has some camps to go through, and even once he does reset, I mean, this should just give Tien all the time in the world to honestly do grubs on his own by this point. We'll see how much of a contest Nongshim even make towards those grubs, because right now it just feels very difficult to even logically make that play, especially knowing that Tien is going to be level 6, correct, Alk, once he gets through all of his topside camps here. So that Cataclysm also going to be up for the grubs in a minute.
Yeah, after this blue buff, he should have level 6 here, so pretty strong. I think with how close the objective is spawning, I don't think it's going to be very meaningful. There is no teleport and flash on Kingham, but he has a lot of vision on top side. You already saw that Tien was clearing a control ward on his blue buff, so kind of makes it a little bit difficult here. I mean, Lehen's right now just trying to take control of the river. Galio has ultimate, but with no teleport, he's going to have to catch this wave first and then move. We're seeing Weibo putting a lot of effort into this top side here.
And despite how bad of an early game this has been for Nongshim, they still do hold a lot of very good key ultimates that make skirmishing difficult for any team here. The problem being that Gideon, all right, there he goes. So cease and desist is up for this Vi now, and Gideon is going to try and make his way towards the topside gate, but Tien is lying in wait in this brush. Gideon's going to clear out the pink ward. There's a much more dangerous player inside the pixel brush, and it looks like we're lagging again.
Okay, I think it's the Nongshim boys this time, because Tien looked like he got caught off guard in the player cam.
Okay. Well, I mean, if we even out the network instability, that's a good thing for us across all boards, because it has unfortunately been something plaguing this tournament a bit, but we do applaud the referee team in their ability to kind of navigate around this. The pauses have come through pretty quickly. We've only had one sort of catastrophic lag spike that's happened. There's not much you can really do about it. It's unfortunate timing. Oh, okay. I guess it is still Weibo players.
I just think it is very funny, by the way, that a lot of people at home were talking about the tournament is rigged. Only the LPL teams are getting an advantage out of the network issues. I think we've shown throughout the tournament, even with how short it is, that everybody is dealing with this. I know that the Nongshim games before were also having some internet issues, so just want to put that out there. I have a whole tweet where I feel very bad for the Vikings, but just by nature of this being an online tournament, it is going to have some issues like this. And honestly, with how quickly most of them, we have not, fingers crossed, had one that has been super, super long. Going back to game.
All right. So now Tian is spotted. Gideon's still going to engage with a Vault Breaker forward. 2v2 for the time being. Like you mentioned, neither, I guess, mid laner. I guess neither AP solo laner can join this. Xiaohu is walking up river. So he does have that hero's entrance. Crisp is going to engage in. Xiaohu can join much faster than Kingin. So Nongshim have to be very careful about this engagement. They're going to cease assist on top of Tian. They're trying to get the shutdown, and they will before Xiaohu lands through. That is claimed by Calyx as he goes dominant form. And somehow, someway, Nongshim are making this grub fight work. They are now on even footing 4-on-4. Jiwoo's Transcendence is coming, taking down his bubble execution, comes across for Breathe. They're going after Jiwoo on the back end, but he gets stunned up, locked out, and the magic carpet comes down. Breathe is trapped with no way out, and there's no way for Weibo and friends to save him.
We just don't have enough damage. Once Jarvan is dead, that kind of is a large portion of our damage in the early game here. It is a 8-minute Sundered Sky. We should have just let him recall and get that item, guys. I feel like Weibo, knowing this information now, should have just called off the fight. This starts with Crisp going in. I don't see why he flashes, but maybe he's expecting to get engaged upon. That's Kingin dying in the picture-in-picture. And then this ultimate, there's just no lockdown. All of this crowd control from Nongshim doing a good job of layering so that they can take down the jungler and make this grub fight incredibly easy for them. It sucks that Breathe could not get this kill onto Jiwoo, but I mean, the back end of this fight is just so good, especially when you have a numbers advantage like this.
Good flash there from Jiwoo to make sure he doesn't get hit by the public execution. It's actually Calyx, whether he wanted to or not, that ends up taking that one up. We saw, like you mentioned, the picture that Tien needs some help here from this Weibo team because he is a perfect 5-for-5 KP, and it is still Nongshim now within 200 gold, mainly because Calyx's Renekton mid now holds the highest gold lead of anybody here. As Chris gets caught going for some vision, double knockup comes across, though. There's the Cataclysm's going to trap the Nico in it, whether she brings her clone out or not, and Lehens has to commit the flash.
This is going to be a consistent issue in this game, is whether or not we actually have enough damage from Weibo's side. Xiaohu's going for the AP variation here of the Galio, so hoping that will be more important later. But we talked about both teams being relatively short-ranged, and most of the time when you're gated by range, sometimes your kits are a little bit weaker. Galio is not going to have that same impact. Alistar is not a champion that we know is going to be incredibly powerful in that department. So we need to see them be really consistent, and I think these two compositions are going to test whether or not teams really understand where and how their teammates are positioning in relation to them.
Gideon going for a gank here on the Breathe. The slow from the Equalizer forces Breathe to flash, but will survive that gank. As we see on the bot side, it's going to be a Drake trade here for Tien. So we will split that win con one apiece here. So good little response there from Tien again, as Breathe does survive that top lane gank. But Light definitely needs to respect the power of this Croc that has already got the Black Cleaver completed and looking to brawl any chance that Calyx gets.
Okay. Trying to look for a little bit more on top side. Kingin and Gideon not able to do all that much. We're seeing that Calyx in a side lane. It's going to be very, very difficult to deal with. When you just think about how this game is going to continue on, who from the side of Nongshim really wants to face off into a Rumble, or into a Galio, I should say. And for Weibo, I don't think there are many matchups here that you really want to play into Renekton. So let's see how our supports move around. Big talking point for us throughout the season was Crisp, whether it was on Top Esports or on Weibo. Can he actually put a couple of games together that look really strong? Because he's famously been a player that has been very, very strong at certain points. But this year in particular, I have not been that impressed with Crisp's play.
Talking more about Calyx, as we do see him looking to kind of scrap with Xiaohu. Hold on, though. Tien nearby. Taunt going to land first. Calyx does have that dominance. This is a 1 versus 2, but again, like you said, Alk, I don't know if there's enough damage to consistently deal with this Croc. Xiaohu having a Hex Flash, a Hex Portal Belt away. That is a hero's interest behind to get back towards Tien, who also had to flash. And Weibo are learning the hard way that Calyx is going to be a problem that demands much more than 2 members of the squad.
That was very cheeky coming in from Weibo, but a very big investment from them. Not only Tien losing his flash, but the hero's entrance as well. Gideon is now here to take away some camps. Calyx is going to have some time to hopefully get a wave in under this turret. And you look across the other side, I don't think Weibo are getting all that much off of this, so still have One Grub is still alive here in this game.
It's a lonely, lonely Grub. But the point that I want to talk about, not just for the lack of damage convo with Weibo, because Breathe is going for the Maw for the lane matchup against Kingen, and like you mentioned, it's the Rocket Belt for Xiaohu. I don't think anyone's going to even be really tanky for a while to deal with the damage that Calyx puts out. So we're in this kind of unfortunate scenario right now for Weibo where a lot of their damage is invested, you know, in a Jarvan that kind of throws himself into danger, the nature of his kit every time. And we're not really that bullish of a front line to where we can stop the Croc from doing whatever he wants. So I think Weibo are going to have to be very precise with their plays and very cautionary around the skirmishes they take in these next couple of windows, despite Tien's great start to this one.
It'll feel a lot better when we get to 5v5s. I mean, we don't have an Mbessa using her ultimate, right? So there are some things that are still lining up. Haven't seen the calibration between our mid-jungles here work all too well, but right now when we look at the map, don't have an objective to play for. There's still 2 minutes before the Dragon, and what I'm looking at is Tien does not have flash. How can we punish this? Can we maybe invade on top side after Gideon finishes this camp? He'll have level 9 when he's done. Maybe we can look for something on bottom side. How do we cover our 2 solo lanes? It looks like we're getting another swap here. Teleport being issued out by Xiaohu. He'll be here first. Does Kingen end up matching? He is very close to level 11.
We already saw Calyx was walking back towards that very top side, so Xiaohu invests the TP, but Nongshim kind of read this play, and they swap back into the lanes that they want to play through here. Still the Rumble and Bessa, still the Galio versus the Renekton for now, as the Herald does spawn, and we get both of these bottom lanes jockeying for mid priority, but it's Gideon that's going to get the first sort of walk in towards this river, and they're going to be able to clear out a lot of Weibo vision. And Crisp, for now, simply has to respect this and maybe try and allow Tien to get this flank set up around.
Okay. The teleport before was just getting them vision priority. You can see by having the Scuttle is doing a lot of work here. Breathe is not going to use his teleport to join. He's going to try to walk to this fight first. 4,000 HP. Here comes a TP from Kingen.
Kingen, Pop Blossom from Lens is going to get headbutted out, but it does secure the Rift Herald here for Nongshim. One slow lands onto Crisp. They've got Calyx with the Dominus already going. Weibo are able to get out before any of these big ults claim them, thanks to Crisp and the headbutt.
Wow. That was a huge play coming on through. And now, Calyx is TP'd away. Breathe is maybe going to look for something not on this wave, but jetting them into position 10 seconds before this Dragon spawns. I think Nongshim, knowing that they don't have very many ultimates to use for this fight, are going to be a little bit more bullish about walking into the river here. It is only third Drake. Nobody's on Soul Point quite yet. But this should be Weibo with a very strong position going into this part of the game.
I think our LCK team in this matchup, yeah, they're just going to make the respect play and sacrifice the third Dragon. Like you mentioned, no Dominus, no Pop Blossom, especially with the game state we have now. Makes it a pretty hard sell for Nongshim to fight through. So we'll have the second Drake, the first Infernal, going over towards the Weibo side. First break could play a pretty key role into these feats of strength, but none of these turrets are too unhealthy, kind of the nature of how low range both of these compositions are, as we're getting first items across the board for everyone. And like we kind of talked about, a good amount of first item spikes coming through on both sides. Mainly want to point out the Eclipse here that gives Breathe a lot more room to operate, and obviously Black Cleaver going to play a big role for Calyx and the rest of Nongshim going forward, as they already just dropped Shelly right off the bat towards the mid lane.
Let's just use it now. Let's try to see if we can get some gold here for Jiwoo. It's going to be Tien showing up to kill this objective. But Gideon gets control on top side. And more importantly for me, I think this is important for Nongshim Red Force to get Kingen, another wave. Calyx.
Breathe. Yep, he's going to have to commit the flash there. There's just no way to really contest with this Croc at this current juncture. Gideon's going to Vault Breaker in. Tien says, all right, I'll throw down the Cataclysm. Chris goes in as well, but the Transcended Jiwoo on this Yunari is pumping a ton of damage. Gets knocked up by Xiaohu, but he's not going to go after the Yunari. Instead goes to try and taunt many members of Nongshim. That was the one thing that they couldn't really afford, is Jiwoo is able to find the one kill onto Tien. Untouched Yunara is going to be a problem, and Nongshim are reminding Weibo early.
Oh, does Kingen get this? This is very close. The flash coming out from Chris. Kingen's going to try to search for it. Doesn't get the stop onto Light's back, but this will be the mid-tier 1 falling. All the while, Calyx is on a side lane right now, constantly pushing. And who is going to be able to match? Breathe is teleporting him, but he doesn't have the public execution. What are we looking for? No teleport, no flash? We're losing a turret for free. Maybe we lose 2 turrets for free. 3!
It's definitely, yeah, it might even be 3. Weibo really kind of just panicking on the map right now, Hulk.
What the hell is happening? Gideon, oh, they're going to catch Breathe here. He is just dead. He is just gone. Can they catch up with him? Crisp is here. They can get 1 more turret topside. Lehens can try to reinforce this side of the map. Jiwoo's going to reset and get himself maybe closer to his second item already. But this has been such a weird early game. Weibo coming out with big haymakers to start. And while it was Gideon who found an individual advantage stealing away some camps, I feel like being cohesive has not necessarily been Weibo's strength this year.
Okay. Crisp and Breathe just kind of hanging out on the river. Kingen and Calyx nearby with Lehen. Nothing's really. They're just pushing down here to grab this top tier 1 turret. So this is going to be Nongshim knocking down all the outer turrets. And again, I want to just highlight Calyx, not just for his lead, but the items he's turned them into by this point. For a skirmish mid-game comp like this Croc wants to operate in, Sterax and Black Cleaver. I don't know how we kill off Calyx unless he rudely mispositions.
And he's going to get like a bonus 600 HP because he just pressed his ultimate. Tien's going to search.
Oh, heads Pop Blossom to hold everybody at bay. Already popped Alistar's ultimate, but very, very low. It's Xiaohu with the flank on the back end as Calyx is trapped in the Cataclysm. They're going to try and turn on to Xiaohu. Going to get back out, go back in with the hero's interest. Jiwoo is going to get knocked off to the side. Calyx not close enough for a Cold the Beak, but it doesn't matter. Gideon with Jiwoo's damage is more than enough to just barrel through all of Weibo. Flash forward comes across for Gideon, wants to pick up a 3rd, make it a 4th. They're looking for Bree with the Flame Spinner, but Nongshim just run Weibo over on the top side.
In the last 3 minutes, Nongshim have gotten 4 turrets and 6 kills almost. This is an incredible spike coming on through for our LCK representatives here. And it's going to be immediately starting up the Otacon. That was Xiaohu using his ult and his teleport to get into that fight. And it went for naught. I mean, Nongshim just straight up win the game after what has been a hectic 3 minutes for Weibo.
They're going to try and see if Tien can get in for a hero steal on this Otacon. Can he flag and drag his way in? It's low enough for him to go for it. Tien steals the Otacon. A lifeline for Weibo.
There it is. I just want Tien's player cam. Full zoom, full screen right there. Laughing his head off. He knows he shouldn't have gone away with that. It was a one-way trip. We take a look back at this fight. This is where I am like questioning myself. Why is there a Galio in my backline like this? Why did we use TP and this ultimate gets no value? It splits the fight just barely. Breathe misses his ultimate, and it just means that Jiwoo can now fire uninhibited. A Tangle Barb's coming on through from Lehen, sets up Light, and even more flashes, more lives, and more gold going over in favor of Nongshim. They're going to make this play into Calyx.
But the damage, do they have enough of it? There's the Sterax shield. The wave is completely gone. Calyx 1 versus 3. He says, bring another. Light shows up here to try and at least find the kill, and they will get it thanks to the public execution. But the Vault Breaker cease and desist combo. Gideon locks down Breathe under the turret, and now Light gets caught, has to flash, but Kingen's damage and Gideon's Vault Breaker find the trade. The cooldowns reset, and Gideon wants more. Calyx outplays the dive, and everything on the map is just going Nongshim's way.
Don't worry, Tien also died on the midway versus Jiwoo and Lehens. That was a Pop Blossom coming in from the Nico. Nongshim can do no wrong here in this game, number 1. There was a lot of hope for Weibo, but of course Weibo could only do it in their way. They are straight up losing this game here. There are so many turrets down. It is 22 minutes, and we're going to basically have what is going to feel close to a 10,000 gold deficit for the LPL. I mean, Dragon's up. There's no timers here for Weibo, and Nongshim just have better connection. This mid-champion, I think the soul lanes are providing a lot of value here. Calyx is doing wonders on this first time Renekton in competitive.
We talked about those items, right? The Sterax in these skirmishes helps out in that dive wondrously. Nongshim now with all the strength they hold with a 7K gold lead. If objectives spawn on the map, they are going to be all over them. Second Infernal Soul. Drake going to be claimed here by this point. And we can start seeing even more gold in the items for Nongshim. The main thing I want to kind of highlight, Alk, we were a bit critical of the Yunara pick. Jiwoo has made it work, and more importantly, 3-item Yunara in a game like this. Ooh, boy.
Yeah. To be fair to Yunara, like, Jiwoo has been able to have some good fights. That's kind of what this Vi and Renekton are going to be able to do in a game. But we had questions as to whether or not it was going to be able to perform because there's so much crowd control, so much lockdown. But we haven't gotten a Weibo team fight that feels cohesive. We have members on both sides. Most of the time, they are mostly scrambling to get away from Nongshim, not trying to find that dive with the Ambessa and the Jarvan. So if we're not going to see fights like that, then sure, you could pick any champion at that point, and I'm sure Jiwoo would be able to have a field day with Weibo.
And what I'm curious, okay, Alk, to get your take on with some of these further Weibo items. Might have to stop for a second. As Tien, okay, he's not even going to steal the red buff away. I don't think he's ever in position to even try this. Gideon reminding him that these camps are his now. Tien has no property value around this area of the map. Light can throw down some early damage. Nongshim really committed to staying here in this jungle, potentially looking for a fight, knowing how far they are ahead, but the poly execution onto Lehens forces him to flash over the Drake pit wall, and that'll cool things down for now, unless Nongshim want to find a flank, and they've actually caught Light out here. Valkyrie and Gideon's going to turn his attention back towards the rest of Weibo. And camp together. Taunt from Xiaohu not going to land. It's getting over the wall. The cease assist, though, onto Tien. He takes a couple of turret shots. He takes about 3 of them. Has to flash himself out. Breathe wants to go after with a flash of his own, but he falls into the wall, and Jiwoo finds the trade. Yunara Transcendent. Let's see how many autos he can get down. The Pop Blossom onto 3 is definitely going to give him enough value to just turn into a living machine gun and ram down Weibo under their own tier 2 turret. Give him a double. Nongshim cannot lose a fight right now.
I think the idea of trying to dance around this bottom side is fine. Baron spawns in 10 seconds, and they were looking to see if Weibo would try to find to engage, try to use some of those summoner spells, and that ended up being true. Nongshim find the pick, use Breathe to try to dive into the backline. It means Lehens loses his flash. We take a look at this. It's the back end of this fight with this replay. The pick onto Tien, in theory, is if we can get their jungler, surely this turns into an objective. And honestly, they are so far ahead, they can play around with their gold lead if they want. All of those buttons used to try to pick off the jungler of Nongshim goes for naught. Baron now at half HP. Weibo are going to try to walk in, but Light is half. Calyx can TP back into this play, and Lehens is about to have that Pop Blossom coming back up.
Calyx is canceled trying to back, so he's got to stick around. Weibo need to either decide to go for the Baron or go for the all-out fight here because they're taking a lot of damage. Kingen is full HP on the top side of this, corralling Weibo. It's Calyx and Kingen keeping all of Weibo pinched. Gideon goes into the pit. Vaultbreaker's back out. Light's already dead. It's once again Tien to secure a big objective, but the Pop Blossom is just bigger. Breathe tries to get back towards Jiwoo, but there isn't enough damage. Xiaohu to rescue it. No, an ace in the Baron pit for Nongshim as they have run over this game 1.
They're going to teleport 2 members mid. Can they actually end is another question. It's still 30-second death timers. 3 grubs, no Baron at their backs, and barely a minion wave here to help them. Calyx doesn't have Dominus either. I think this is a little risky. This might just be Inhibitor and Recall. All right, that's going to be the call coming on through for our Noodle Boys.
Whoa, what a bombastic game 1. I like the look from Weibo. They knew Nongshim couldn't reset on this Baron, but take us back through this little pincer move we saw from the solos.
I mean, Light is just useless this fight, unfortunately. Partially not his fault because he's basically moving from a bad fight into another one without having a reset in between to get his health, but he gets immediately taken out. All of the damage is not available coming on through for Weibo. And Ambessa tried as they might, try to get in the back line with this Galio, and you just saw it more and more. Jiwoo just gets to rip apart the front line of Weibo Gaming. Nongshim now, no Baron, but an open inhibitor in mid. Jiwoo is getting a red buff in top side and is going to move on down. It'd be Soul Point's 5th dragon of the game. I don't know if we necessarily see a Soul with how this one is looking.
Yeah, not the way the Nongshim can team fight through a lot of these spots here. And like you talked about, measured aggression is what they've shown in this bot side jungle. Is they're trying to cover for Calyx to both allow these super minions to get into the Weibo base. You're seeing Light having to deal with them currently, and Calyx bringing in the bottom lane wave up. They do not care about top turrets. That is going to be objective bounty that Xiaohu gets, and he will be able to reset here. So a little bit of a gold investment paying off there for Weibo now, but they've got much more pressing matters on the bot side of the map.
It doesn't get much better for them. It's not like they scale infinitely versus their opponents. It's not like the matchups get easier for them to play with items. So for now, it is just Weibo got to walk as 3 or 4, got to walk as a crew, and hopefully they can get something. I mean, yeah, he's basically their only magic damage in this game, so he has to kind of do this. Weibo, they're going to have to fish with their bodies, move forward. Dragons very freely going over to Nongshim. The best part of this game was definitely them somehow getting both the Otacon and the Dragon and the Baron, because it's kept them technically in the game. Functionally, I don't know how much it's been useful.
You know what it's useful for? Narratives. The Tien has done everything he can this game. Oh, that's the takeaway that we have to have. Yep, jungle
diff.
Jungle diff indeed. Red buff, all these camps getting stolen away for Nongshim now, and well, you know, when we came, I was going to ask you all, when we came into this series, you talked about hoping for a Weibo 2-0 against Nongshim after their 2-0 against D plus Kia. What do you feel like you saw from Weibo work against DK that is now such a shortcoming against Nongshim? I'm going to give you time to think about it, because Tien is on a mission of his own. He's trying to deliver an AP Galio to the back line. They are just going to jump on top of Gideon. That is 3 ultimates to kill off Gideon, and they do. Jiwoo goes transcendent, dodges Crisp on his pulverized forward. Flag and Drag comes across. There's the Cataclysm. They're getting all the knockups onto Jiwoo. He flashes away, but he doesn't have enough damage. Cien takes him out. Calyx cannot get onto Light on the backside, and Kingen is caught up Creek with no paddle right now. And a flash after Light goes into the stages, but Calyx now goes down. Tien hand delivers Weibo a huge flank, and out of nowhere, they wipe down 4 shutdowns off the map.
That's my jungle goat right there. Let's go, Tien. All right. It looked a bit weird, but again, this does not get easier, and that was a 9,000 gold lead now cut in half in favor of Weibo. Lahen's getting chased around the map. I think it is bad. He needs to die soon. Baron spawns in a minute and a half, and they still need time to set up and get all of their objectives. Now, what are Weibo able to get in this one during all of this? It'll be a mid-tier 1. It'll be them pushing on the mid-tier 2, on the top lane tier 2s with Breathe. But I don't know if it necessarily gets them back into this game, Slayer, but that's exactly what we needed to see coming in from our boys in the LPL.
That's the type of fight that showed why we were so hesitant of this Nongshim draft. And it's a Tien Master super secret flank to kick it all off.
The damage, just the crowd control especially, is the most important part, and that is where this comp lies. We have not gotten a strong enough 5v5. I love this react from Weibo. Tien immediately hits the ultimate onto Jiwoo. Crisp, he only used the headbutt. It got dodged there by the Yunara, comes back in with the pulverize and makes good on trying to find the AD carry. And then Corki into short-range teams is usually very, very strong. The Gatling gun gets a lot of value. And those were good shutdowns going over to Weibo Gaming. Now whether or not they can actually get through and win this game still is going to be a different matter. That is an LPL gold graph of all time. And welcome, LCK. This is the kind of gold graphs we have to deal with on a daily basis. Now they're fishing for Lahens. Remember, Baron spawning in 25 seconds. Any crowd control, any summoner spells they can get right now is an advantage going in their favor.
Let's see if the crowd control Crusaders, a.k.a. Weibo Gaming, in this first bout, can find themselves another good fight on their terms. Xiaohu reminding Kingen that he is full AP, so he doesn't want to eat too many of those Q combinations from the general. It's Weibo to bring the mid-wave all the way up, force Nongshim out of position to answer, and now we are all just jockeying for position with this Baron on the Rift for a second time.
All right, side lanes are going to stack, but in opposite directions. Weibo will have an advantage on... Oh, Xiaohu is dead.
Remember, he's pretty squishy. He has to flash over the wall. Breathe goes in the background. Here comes the hero's entrance through again. The knockups land. GA off of Jiwoo. Nongshim are going to have to fight without their big AD carry. He finally respawns, but is immediately bopped back down by Xiaohu. The crowd control and the superior front line shows up once again. A complete seesaw of a game 1, but Weibo have found a way to make their fight might sing. It's only Kingin trying to delay time once more, but it's a Weibo ace with 4 up. Are they going to backdoor this game, Hulk?
No, I don't think that's possible. They don't have enough damage right now. It's just going to be Xiaohu getting themselves a mid-tier 2. Eyes on the Baron here. And Weibo are fighting back in this game number 1. I was calling this game over. I was saying that this was not possible for Nongshim to throw, but the Noodle Boys can only do it in such spectacular fashion. Of course, it is only Weibo that can make games like this happen on our screen. Let's take a look at this replay one more time. We thought it was Xiaohu getting caught, but a pretty nice deflect coming on through. Gets back over the wall, uses his ultimate to catch onto Jiwoo thanks to Breathe. And after that, it is just crowd control city. And same thing for Nongshim. They put all their eggs into killing Light in that basket. Ends up going on through the Guardian Angel for Tien. Locks down these members. This ultimate so important for such low range, low mobility carries coming in from Nongshim.
Listen, Hulk, the Galio flanks looked pretty dire and bad earlier, but now he's getting engaged on flashing and behind, re-entering with the hero's entrance as he does now, as they all try and dump onto Calyx. That's a really good rumble, though, from Kingin. And Weibo have to respect it. They do get the dominance out of the croc. Both solo lanes for Nongshim lose their ultimates. But Xiaohu without the hero's entrance. It's Tien that still holds onto the Cataclysm.
They need help.
Public execution available, but yeah, HP bars are a problem.
Tien needs to be able to get into this pit right now. They have Baron, but this is going to be Soul going over to Nongshim if they get this.
Oh, the hands, 3-man Pop Blossom. Light gets himself out. Breathe able to kite back well. Xiaohu's going to be re-engaged. All he's using for Breathe. He gets Jiwoo again. But look at the top of your screen. Dragon is at 2.5k health, and Calyx knows he flashes onto Tien and makes sure that Nongshim secure the soul. Tien re-engages onto Jiwoo, but he's far too low. And the Yunara untouched again is a big, bad problem for Weibo to deal with. These fights have gone back and forth, and now it's Nongshim trying to swing back.
What?
He lost Jiwoo, and Breathe is unleashed. He's running, just dashing over and over again, and he's found kill after kill. It's Jiwoo and the head's the only one that are left up. Xiaohu dashes forward. A big Q is going to fall just a bit short, and Gideon gets himself out with the Infernal Soul secured for Nongshim.
What is happening in this game? 35 minutes in, Weibo did not make a play that could connect onto Nongshim. Leads Tien with a quarter of his HP. Unable to get into that pit, just barely, not around the dragon. And now Weibo find themselves with a dragon soul down. This gold graph is going to be so disgusting in the postgame, no matter who ends up winning this game. And remember, the winner of this series is going to be waiting on the winner of the next to play semifinals later tonight as the last broadcast for tonight. It might be a long night for a lot of these guys. Weibo, man, like, we cannot be throwing in these objective fights. We need to be a little bit more secure about where we're looking for. And Nongshim, they're the team that originally had all this gold lead, so still a lot to play with when you're talking about this composition.
We've got Tien and Jiwoo's GA that is going to come up at relatively the same point, but there's not going to be much to fight over. For all the Mad Hatter chaos we've had in this game, there's no Baron for a while. There's no Elder for just about as long. So both these teams are going to have to really hone in and prioritize going for some of these plays. But Weibo, you mentioned, feel like they need to win now. They can't go for anything else. They dump a ton of damage into Lehens. That's the Nico killed off, but who really wins that trade with how many ults are levied and Calyx left alone on the bot side?
Yeah, there's no Lehens to be able to play for. I think this is just buying Weibo time right now. They pushed a lot of members into mid. Tien's going to fix this top wave, and Calyx doesn't really get to do all that much. All this means for Weibo is that they get some breathing room, and from Nongshim's perspective, they have to pull back a little bit. I think you can look at it from the minimap's perspective. Almost none of their vision is on the top side, and that's the next objective that's going to spawn. They're going to have to walk all the way through this jungle, clear out all this vision, and by that time, they're not going to have sweepers. They might just have control wards there to help them. So for Weibo, this is more of a buying time procedure.
Jiwoo gets that level 16 ultimate over. Soon to finish out on a armor pen item and a GA in tote. This game has been defined by a lot of things. The early jungle starts, And just these raw team fights from these short-range compositions. And Xiaohu is flashing on top of Calyx to get the taunt into the two flag drag knockup. They send Breathe into the back line, trying to cut down Jiwoo, but Jiwoo is stuck between everyone coming in the backside of the fight, and the untouched Yunara might just be Weibo's undoing. All these GAs pop, but Jiwoo is just rolling through all these Weibo health bars, and with his own GA, he's going to shut down Breathe and come back up firing once more like it's a really close redemption. But he needs to find these rockets. Kingen, Jiwoo, and Calyx, they're all too low. They can't get close enough to kill Light off. And we have another anticlimactic end to such a whirling start.
Why are we trying to make that engage onto the Renekton? You get the Guardian Angel out of a lot of players, so all in all, I think both teams are okay with the trade. Calyx just has so much HP, and this is what the Renekton is to bring you. 3,000 HP, then he pops the Dominance. That's a bonus 600 on top of that. On top of the Sterix gauge, which then gets popped. He has that and the upgraded tier boots. He buys so much time in this fight, and why are we fighting into a choke point versus a Rumble and a Nico? This is almost asking for a straight-up loss handed to them. Weibo barely get out of this play thanks to the damage, and again, all of these GAs that they have that are now gone for this next fight before the Baron and before the Elder spawns.
Oh, man. Staring at 4 GAs on cooldown. That is ludicrous. And by the way, if Gideon and or Breathe get enough golden time, they also will be sporting a revive in just one of the games of all time for the Asia Invitational, and it's only going to get crazier, folks. Baron is now here, mere seconds until it spawns on the map, and Nongshim have all the control of the river outside of that scuttle crab. Yep, there's the toggle.
There it is.
Very
Good job from our observers. They also don't have push on side lanes right now. That bottom wave is starting to stack in favor of Nongshim. Also going to have a wave that's going to reinforce it soon enough. Maybe Chris gets a good flank after this wave. Need to see Xiaohu and Breathe walk together. They are the big parts of getting this engine online. A ward from Lehens is going to spot out Crisp. And it is complete domination. And there he is!
Oh.
God Quo has made the transition. He's going over the Nongshim side. He's feeling the Noodle Boys will be taking a Game 1 victory here. It's a sad day here. Let's see whether or not he is continuously going to show whether he is correct or he is lying. He's come back. He's come back. He's come back.
He's come back.
Yes!
All right. Weibo, start the Baron right now. You've got the power of the Grasshopper behind you. You have to start something. They're actually completely in control of top river. Crisp is still really committed to this flank. He's going to headbutt Jiwoo out. But, oh, boy, the stuns are layering, and Crisp does not have a GA to deal with. He has to pop the Unbreakable Will, and without that ultimate, that is going to be Jiwoo's butter knife cutting through Crisp's butter. But, oh, my God, Elder's up. Why do we care about Baron?
We spent so much time controlling the top side that now we're waiting for Elder to spawn. Now Gideon in a flank. Does Xiaohu end up marking him? They have had no eyes as to where Gideon has been this entire play.
The Elder is very low. Gideon's close enough to smite. Tien has stolen away 2 huge objectives already, but there's the Pop Blossom on to 4 from Lehens. Chris dives in after the Yunara. Jiwoo is now down. Can they? Who finds the Elder? That's who's going to win this fight, and it's Gideon that secures it. Back into the back end, those Tien, he drops the counter to 2. Kingen gets popped.
What?
Heads out of the GA, dies. It's only Calyx with no GA to contest with versus the top side of Weibo. No Elder, no problem. Weibo are going to win a climactic start to our series.
How the hell do you get Infernal Soul and the Elder and you lose? Nongshim, what the hell happened here? Weibo, down everything. Down gold, down experience, down objectives. Find game number 1 by any means necessary.
No gold, no objectives, just vibes. And a goated jungler in Tien. Started off hot, ends even hotter, and Weibo are 1-0 up against Nongshim.
Let's go! You asked. We said, how do we get a Weibo win here? What are we looking for them after beating up on D+? It's get a 2 over Nongshim. Let's go.
And play what was maybe the most entertaining game of League the ASI has seen, but also the ugliest. I think at one point in this game, everyone made a pretty big blunder that could have thrown this away. But it was Nongshim that made the last one. That's all that matters is, oh my God. I already see the LPL English
That's
social
beautiful.
media post.
And we're unshadow banned. This is a great day.
We're
This is a great
unshadow
day.
There
Unshadow
it is,
banned
I
for
see it.
now. For now, fingers crossed. But wow, I don't know what else to kind of say. I mean, this game was so back and forth. We had questions for both drafts as to how they were going to eventually come online. And while the early game looked very good for Nongshim, they were rolling most of this game number 1. Xiaohu came up clutch in this one on the AP Galio of all things.
55k damage. Leads every single member in this game on the Glass Cannon Galio. Take that to your solo queue games, guys. I promise
Please
it will
don't.
go well.
Well, if you're going to do it on the enemy team, please.
Yes,
Still,
yes.
we got to see that the crowd control was too much. We talked about range being an important factor here of tonight's game. And Yunara doesn't usually get to hit if she has to stand outside of the Galio ultimate. Also, we saw that the engage for Nongshim was essentially just Vi. That's your only piece of real crowd control. You don't have a front line outside of that. It is mostly going to be this Renekton. Lehens is not a champion or is not on a champion that gives him that kind of luxury. And multiple times throughout this game, yes, he landed a Pop Blossom, but was kind of the first target in a lot of instances.
Yeah, and we didn't get to talk too much about it because the game just was everything was spilling out towards the end of this one. But face value of this draft, right? You talked about how Vi's your only engaged, but just think about how some of these Nongshim champions want to be most powerful in a game like this when we go 37 plus minutes. It's a Rumble, it's a Vi, it's a Renekton, it's a Nico. The only person on Nongshim that's really happy to see a game draw out this long is Jiwoo on the Yunara. But once we saw Weibo in this fight in particular finally get towards this Yunara, felt like everything clicked, Alk. And every fight after that, Jiwoo was never able to kind of just free hit like we saw him do in those 10 minutes in the mid game where we thought Nongshim had just completely run Weibo over and taken a game 1 win.
I just wanted to get a clean 5v5, and while maybe clean is not the adjective we could use to describe it, we actually did get to see what happens when the solo lanes of Weibo get to enter into a fight. Multiple times, it's Breathe getting those ultimates like you're mentioning, and everything just falls into place. Just really, really good eventual team play coming on through, and relying on kind of the sturdiness of the champions that they had from the draft. Like, this Infernal Soul, you should not be losing with Infernal Soul. That's just a point and blank, very simple.
And they do win this fight pretty outright. But yeah, it's, you know what? I'm going to chalk it up to Weibo just pulling Nongshim into the LPL.
Thank you,
chaos
Weibo.
Because there were definitely a couple of games this LPL split or year where I saw teams lose with an Infernal Soul or just a Soul in general. I've seen teams lose with Baron and Elder together. I actually think we've seen that in the ASI. I saw that on the first day of the ASI.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just the ASI is also infected with whatever we like to see in the, well, like is a tough word, what we see in the LPL all year long.
Wow, 29 HP is the last value I saw there. And again, was secured by Nongshim. Thinking about MVPs, I think there's a few players we could give it to. My mind is immediately going to either Tien or Xiaohu.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Xiaohu kind of brought it together with the damage and his ultimate, but Tien was early game, started off 3-0, got multiple smite steals on Otacon and Baron, ends up going over to our man in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the statistics buff helping out here, right? He does the most damage of anyone in the game. He also has a high kill participation at 82%. So a Galio that we felt like might not get to operate because of the build path he had to go has an MVP-like performance, a player of the game. You want to know who the Players of Our Stream award would go to, though, folks? That is to a lot of you at home, and most importantly, right now, our coffee supporters. They make our show run all year long. It's a big reason why we've been able to do what we do here for, I guess if we're counting the ASI, nearing 900 games of League of Legends streamed. But you might be asking yourself, how do I become a coffee supporter? Well, if you like to support LPL English and become a coffee member, that's how you do it. Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English project. A lot of your contributions will go directly to the show you're seeing now. payments go into upgrading the broadcast, but a huge bulk of it pays on-air talent and content creators. You can subscribe to our coffee. It is linked in the chat, so make sure to check that one out, and you will unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for our on-site interviews. And the one note that I want to make is all those nice, lovely things don't just pertain to the LPL. We got to do some amazing MSI work this year too, thanks to a lot of you guys.
And we're gonna be at Worlds, guys. I'm not gonna be at Worlds, unfortunately. I know. But hopefully we'll have some interviews for everybody at home. And if you want to get those special interviews, if you want to get some questions in, gotta be logged in and tapped in on our coffee. So we're gonna get to a short break, and we're back. We'll be here with game number 2 between Weibo Gaming and Nongshim Red Force.
Back in a flash here on the LPL English unofficial Twitch channel, as we have had an LPL game at the Asia Invitational. If you missed it, sorry, folks. I would try to recap it for you, but I think the English language would limit my ability to explain what we just watched.
That was definitely a game of all time. That was probably, again, the most Weibo thing that could happen. Lose early game, and then multiple miraculous team fights later, we stumble our way into a win. It's like tripping upwards into success. I know some of our fans at home would probably use that to describe a player like Joel's career, but we're continuing to see Weibo do Weibo magic. And that's the good thing. They're the only LPL representatives in our bracket, and I need them. I need them to show up, because a lot of fans were starting to throw some shade on the LPL's name at this tournament.
Listen, folks, all I'm telling you is when an LPL team at the Asia Invitational wins game 1, they're undefeated against LCK teams. So use that map how you will.
That is true. That is true. All right, we have our draft starting here. It'll be Nongshim this time on the blue side. Bans looking relatively the same already with a Kiana and a Poppy taken away. My question is are we going to see Ryze continue to be banned as one of the most potent champions on the patch?
We'll have to see. Cassiopeia ban. All right, that's an intriguing one thrown towards Xiaohu. Weibo, will they take away that Ryze?
It has to be. You're getting rid of the Cassio. A lot of mid laners have been willing to go for Ryze versus Galio, but I really hate that matchup, and obviously was just taken away thanks to Fearless here in this series. So they have to be wondering, are we going to be banning the Ryze ourselves? And if not, what are they going to be looking for? Is it going to be another jungler? It's Aurora this time, so I really feel like this should just be Ryze B1, and if it's not, then we're picking like Xin Zhao or Orianna is one of them. Okay.
So they trade the Ryze back to Xiaohu. I gotta think that he just slams this. I don't know what else he would like his look here. They banned his own Aurora. We talked about how the Galio's already out. The Azir's banned away. Think you just take the Ryze here and kind of handshake that Calyx and Xiaohu won't really be contesting each other too much early and looking to play for much later phases of this game.
And you have to always be careful about picking support early versus this team because Lehens is a player that has so much flexibility and specifically just has so many different champions that he wants to play that I think giving him early counter pick could be dangerous. We'll see now what Weibo are going to go for. Again, I still think that you should just be picking jungle on here, especially because you know that there is going to be an Orianna. If you need AD, Naafiri Blind isn't all that bad. I know still Xin Zhao definitely more the preference for a lot of our junglers.
That's a good note, though. Does Tian want to lean carry?
Wow. There's more Lee Sin.
Yeah, I mean, we have had so much Lee Sin in this tournament. I think now that Tian's playing this, we didn't get a Shun. We didn't get a Shun Lee Sin. So 2/3 of the LPL teams have now rocked Lee Sin, and I know it's been played by at least more than half of our teams here. The response from Nongshim, Gideon breaking out the Nocturne. Oh yeah, we're going old school with Nongshim. It is Orianna Nocturne and a Kaisa to dive through with it.
Very simple stuff. Let's see if the combo between Gideon and Calyx can be timed, and the dive here available for Jiwoo. So now from Weibo, I think the champions that they have are actually not that bad at being able to resist this. Xayah definitely helps that as well. So taking away more of the power from Nongshim's comp. Let's see what else we are going to get through in the last phase of this draft. I do think that a Braum is pretty important in this game for Weibo.
See if that one gets banned away. I do love the Xayah pick, though. It is definitely shoehorning Xiaohu into being the one that is terrorized by this combo virtually since the ultimates come online. We'll see how much support bans come across, as I do want to re-emphasize that Lehens is a madman on support picks. K-Man, who you'll hear from later, has been preaching the fact that if you see Lehens play Elise or Shen, it's a turbo int. Lehens has not played either one of those champions yet, so I just want to put that on everyone's radar, nonetheless.
I think Nautilus is a good shout here. I don't know if Weibo necessarily need to be afraid of it, but it is something I think Nongshim do need to take into consideration that could come in on 4 here. I like the Rakan shout, but I think giving a team like this Nautilus perfectly fine. It seems like that is what's going to be Weibo's choice. So what else are they going to be going for? Because I don't think they have much pick being able to get onto an Orianna later into the game outside of Tien finding something. So without a Nautilus, are they going to be looking for, I don't know, honestly, a Bard? Bard looks good here.
Bard could always be fun.
Leona is always my go-to. If there's an Orianna enemy team, I'm just going to be skill checking her all the time. It's okay. Does she have flash? If no, I'm throwing an ultimate.
I like that plan. TK, I mean, we're just fully trying to cover for anti-dive. I think Nongshim realized that if it's layman terms, right? Like if they don't pull off kills on these dives, they are dead in the water. So the Braum getting through for Crisp, yeah, I think for now Weibo are doing at least on the bot side, a pretty good job at limiting Nongshim's ability with this classic dive comparable.
Okay, so as the game goes on, it will become a little bit tougher for Nongshim to operate. Kaisa is going to give them some scaling. Sion's a great frontliner here, but from what I'm seeing from Weibo, I need some kind of like reliable engage, and that just kind of cuts everything out immediately. Honestly, I think the only way we see this from Weibo, this needs to be an Ornn on 5. We need to have Ornn versus Sion. We need Ornn for the long range. I don't know if Aatrox is the champion I really want to play here, but I mean, you have a couple of melees. There's some lower range coming in from Nongshim into the Orianna. We need to find ways of threatening Calyx in the mid lane, because otherwise I think he should have a very easy game to play.
I don't hate the Aatrox. I think the Ornn would have been better. I'm definitely with you, Alk. But I do see the Aatrox angle for Breathe if he wants to kind of be high impact in these fights. It's going to be really funny because I'm curious to see if Breathe takes the approach in these fights of trying to run Calyx down like you're talking about. I expect Calyx to take Phase Rush just to buy a bit more space for an Aatrox running at him. Or if he tries to play back and wait for all those melees like you're talking about to kind of jump on the team, because that's also what Aatrox wants to do. All these melees in front of him that he can hit the sweet spots. So very skill-expressive spot for Breathe with this Aatrox, even if we were calling for a much more safe and team-oriented pick like an Ornn.
Let's see what happens here, because this could be Weibo sending themselves to the semifinals immediately. If Weibo win this, they're going to be waiting at the end of the day for the next series, which is going to be BNK Furex versus D plus Kia. Winner of that will be facing off against the winner of this series here. And Nongshim need to be able to bounce back. This is a double elim tournament. I want to remind everybody real quick. So still a lot of game to play if they do lose out on their first life. But again, God Wool showing up for the Weibo squad.
He's still repping. You got a bit antsy in that game one. We all did, though. But that is behind us now. Weibo playing with house money going forward as we get a look at some of these runes. Just wanted to check that Calyx does go for the face rush. Not that I was worried that it wouldn't be. He does, and we are set to go back onto the Rift here as Alk shifts into producer mode, and we go live to Summoner's Rift. Game 2, what could be the final one if Weibo can, no matter how they do it, win Game 2 like they were able to win Game 1.
Lehens with the Taric. I love that this guy is cooking. Very strong into trying to stop a Lee Sin. Very good into the Braum early as well. Even if the Unbreakable can block away the stun, it is a good disincentive. Also, you can try to fight him in the wave. Gonna get spotted on this ward. They clear it out. Lehens does back away, has no reinforcements. They're going for the swap with the Sion here, so it's going to be the Kaisa versus Aatrox early. Aatrox actually not that bad into many ranged matchups, but mostly just a stopgap measure to help get through what is a slightly tougher laning phase.
There's a lot of early moving pieces to take stock of, right? It's the swaps like you called out, but it's also the vert jungle that Tien forces here. So I wonder if Tien is going to try and get Light ahead and even more comfortable with this Sion. Maybe try and knock Lehens out of the lane, because we know the one problem with these sort of sets is that the supports can really fall behind with experience. It's a lot to track here. I think we're due for another wacky early game that it's hard to remember with how much happened in Game 1, but it's exactly what we got, especially with Tien running away with. You got about a 1,000K gold lead at 6 minutes. I know, hard to remember, everyone.
Tien is going to be very strong, though, because he's going to take away the Raptors, and he still has all of his top side here. Nongshim did not get eyes as to where he started, so he gets to go Raptors. You see the pings. Gideon's going to move into top side. He's going to try and make that gambit. He knows with the ward on the Raptors that they hasn't started it quite yet. Calyx now, actually getting Dovener's turret.
All right, he's going to flash early. Tien's going to land a Sonic Wave. A Resonating Strike comes through. He flashes out of the turret range. And Tien is once again dialed with his second first blood of our series.
And now he just gets to go into his bottom side jungle. Tien, as soon as he sees his Q miss, he's like, okay, there's a Nocturne in my top side. Aatrox, be a little bit careful. Good kills coming on through. Turns into double summoner spells from Calyx just in trade for Tien's flash. And a good start here for Xiaohu, who on this rise, I think can be a huge monster in this game. I think a 2-item wake up for a large majority of this Weibo team becomes a scary nightmare here for Nongshim.
And who will pilot them through? Who will get that dirty work done? It's Tien to the rescue once again on this Lee Sin. He's got the kill as well, so again, we're going to be tracking to see how much he can get done with gold income early. And if you thought a Jarvan with an 8-minute Sunder Sky was scary, I promise you, Lee Sin with a gold lead is a much scarier prospect in the snowball department.
We've already rotated their bot lanes on through. It is going to be just a trade of the scuttles. I like that Xiaohu is playing really aggressively in mid. Knows he doesn't have flash, and they have vision of Gideon now, so as long as they can play this 2v2, it's very akin to the Nefiri that we saw, where Rise with a point-and-click Rune Prison makes it easy to get the punish. Calyx.
Are we doing it again?
Yeah, he's waiting. Now he's going to
Calyx
show around the wall.
For it. Oh, okay. That's Sonic Wave missing.
All right, but so this is going to be a plate now for Xiaohu.
Yeah, Chris to cover as well. I want to track, so let's see how I would like to see what the support XP is going to look like, because I do think Lehens is going to get decent chunk far ahead with all this meandering around the jungle that Crisp is doing. I don't think Gideon was expecting a Braum in his jungle. He shows up. He's still going to get hit by the Q. He's trying to trade with Tien, who's very low HP, but the stun is going to land. Tien's going to have to ward hop over. Gideon thinking about a flash, but he won't, and he does a decent job protecting a lot of his gold. Xiao's going to flash forward, get the Rune Prism down. Does he have enough damage on the Rise? Oh, he's about one Q short.
Oh, he thought his phase rush would have been able to stay longer here. Gideon needs to be careful. Doesn't land the Q. And if a concussive blows goes off, that could be dangerous here. Gideon is just going to have to 1v2 this. Doesn't even have smite.
No. He's the Sonic Wave. Tien, resonating strike forward. Slow's going to stack. Concussive blows won't come through, but he won't be able to steal his Raptor camps back around. And Calyx is like, Gideon, you're supposed to protect me here, bro. I'm lower than you. Sonic Wave not going to land. There's the Unbreakable thrown up by Chris. Luckily, they have the minions to tank up the turret, and they'll be able to glide themselves on out.
Wow, tough margins there, but that was 2 camps taken there by Tien, so feeling pretty, or a camp taken away there by Tien. Very, very good. Got most of the Krugs, got most of the Raptors, and now gets to have access to his respawn Raptors as well. Tien still haven't recalled yet, so I wonder what his first back is going to be. Probably just going to be a tunneler and some more components. But I like the aggression that they're getting from Weibo. Play around your mid laner who is here to set up and be a facilitator in the early game. And with other lanes being as stable as they are right now, I think the fact that Lehens is not getting onto the map or not being a bigger part to be able to play is a bit of a problem. It still will be fine because he's just going to be a Taric later on.
Yeah, and he's going to get to his ultimate much faster than Crisp will. So that's something to look forward to with Grubs about 2 minutes out. Yeah, that's a big marker for a lot of these ults coming back online as we reset back to normal lanes. And, well, one person on the Nongshim side that's pretty happy with rematching up with his expected opponent is going to be Kingen. It's really nice against an Aatrox when you come back with heel cut. That really takes a lot of the wind out of the Aatrox all-in sails.
Mm-hmm. Definitely very important, and I mean, most of this team coming in from Weibo is going to be doing physical damage, so the armor is always going to be useful. Seeing that there's a large focus towards bottom side, Xiaohu does have ultimate and was fading like he was going to look for a bottom side play. Opts against it. They're going to take control of the Tri-Brush instead. You noted earlier that there was going to be, whether or not there was going to be a massive support experience gap, and currently Lehens is about half a level over his opponent, so won't have it for the Grubs, but if there's a later dragon, maybe Lehens will have his ultimate, and we're seeing a fight for red buff now.
Or we don't care about XP because we are realm warping on top of Gideon. They get the double Taric stun with the lights go out. Gideon just trying to create distance. He's going to re-engage into a 4-man shockwave, and Weibo are completely stunned. Calyx gets his revenge. Light flashes with a blade collar to get one back, but that is a measly morsel. Boom goes the dynamite for the Nocturne Orianna combo.
Triple kill for Calyx gets him right back into this game. Weibo not playing with enough respect. I mean, Gideon had ultimate. Guess who didn't? Tien. He's a little bit behind. He was 1 camp behind, and that turns into a massive turnaround here for Nongshim, who get 4 kills because of that. They get priority in multiple lanes, including bottom lane for Jiwoo. And now they get to play for this, for these grubs if they really want to. They still have Tarek, who's going to be able to come and fight. Kaisa can have an entrance in using the Killer Instinct that's still available. And Kingan's in the area and still has the Unstoppable Onslaught. So Nongshim get their cake and eat it too for this play.
One caveat for Weibo, Tien off that one grub does get the kick on. So Tien has that available. Tarek's not going to land. It's Gideon onto the grubs. He has smite advantage for the time being, but it's Tien's going to engage onto Lehens. Without that Tarek gold, much more susceptible to engage with the flash. Unstoppable Onslaught hits onto Light, and they cut down the Zaya where she stands. Tarek finally gets the trade back, but Xiaohu gets routed and knocked up. It's the power of the Scion CC coming through for Nongshim, and they do get to eat those grubs up 2 for 1, and get to play a fun game of where is Tien going to try and leave? Well, he's just going to use his teammate to get on out there. So at least Tien escapes, but Nongshim, another early game where they are just much more in control.
They win that fight outright. Don't even use the ultimate or the flash here from Jiwoo. Just a good, clean fight coming on through from them. No ability for Weibo to play. I'm quite confused as to why we're looking for these timings. The fact that we got one grub should be good enough. Let's get back into our timers. Xiaohu died a second time for that play after teleporting in. Gets right into the middle of a Scion knockup. Now they're going to see if they can find Calyx. Does have flash.
Don't think he should even burn it here. Maybe he's going to try and kill off Breathe. He does have Shockwave. Going to use it here. Breathe flashes out of it knowing that he would have been the trade kill there, and Calyx will be picked off with a juicy shutdown. The Tien will claim. Good play there back from Weibo, but it comes at a cost as always.
Yep, Nongshim get the red buff. They're also going to be able to steal Raptors away. Light can't really walk in here. Wow. Gideon gets shoved off of this. Tien gets to take his red buff. Okay, so not all that bad. It bought time here for Calyx. I really wish Breathe hadn't had flashed. It kind of felt like you could have gone through that play without using it. If he just backs off, let your mid and jungle take care of the situation. He's going to fish.
Action.
That is tough.
on the flank. Gideon turns the lights off. He's going to re-engage on top of the Zaya. The Blade Caller doesn't get the snare there from Light. Can Gideon glide this one out? Jiwoo's trying to throw down some damage. Tien is going to eat the stun. The Plasma Stacks are coming through here. It's a Killer Instinct 4 for Jiwoo, but immediate kick from Tien. He flashes himself back out. Blade Caller from halfway across the screen. Light gets the kill onto Lehens. The Rune Prism roots up Jiwoo, but he flashes after Xiao, who has to commit his own flash. And the Feather Storm coming down here from Light. Another just rambunctious fight coming from our two teams, but it's only a trade of kills unless, no, Tien's not that crazy.
No, Tien, we're not doing this. We're not taking the red buff here. Teleport comes on through from Crisp. No, it's just Crisp. I gotta say, guys, please, Weibo, if you can hear me, we don't have to flip this, and this is the problem with playing against Tarek as Lee Sin. You're never, ever allowed to Sonic Wave if Tarek is marked onto your target. He put all that damage in the last fight onto Tarek and just barely didn't get him because he landed the Sonic Wave onto another member of Nongshim instead. Jiwoo now 1,000 gold up in everything from that early game. Calyx having a very similar lead versus his opponent here.
We'll see if Jiwoo can overcome the shortcomings his lead brought in game number 1. Still about a 1,500 gold lead here for Nongshim, and they'll probably look to transition this into knocking off some pretty easy objectives. We still haven't had first Drake of the game take a spill yet. Gideon and Tien are both in the area here. Breathe getting some value of the push he has. There is Paranoia over top if Gideon wants to all in onto this Aatrox, but has camps to clear, and we will finally see the first Drake of the game knocked down at 12 minutes, and that makes Dragon Soul a pretty unlikely scenario for this one.
Yep. Jiwoo just gets to step up when you have this Tarek. I mean, as soon as you get your evolves as well, I think Jiwoo basically becomes unkillable in a lot of these fights. They're going to take control of the bottom side. Tien's going to open up into try first. Thankfully, a single ward here as well. Xiaohu's teleporting over.
Tien, he wants to kick on to Jiwoo. They're going to use the Cosmic Radiance. Can they get the Kaisa down before? No. Transcends into a godlike form. Will come out of it and Killer Instinct back towards his team as they lose Crisp already. Flashes from Gideon, but the Custom Blows still land here. Tien's going to ward hop forward, and Gideon will be traded out. Liking the flank angles and aggressiveness from Weibo. That's what got them back in and the win in game 1.
All right, but look at what's being traded on the opposite side. Calyx is getting side lane. There he is. Godgwo still
He's
going
nervous.
for Weibo. They're going to look for Jiwoo here. Tien, can he find it? One more kick. Okay, Sonic Wave doesn't land, but that's a lot of gold being given over. Yes, it was a play to open up. You got some summoner spells out from Nongshim, but think about what you have lost during all of this. Usually when you're playing this Rise, you're not usually the strongest in lane, but side laning, being able to make map plays is where the beat is at. And potentially losing a turret here before 14 minutes is a lot to give over. So let's see if Nongshim can get some more out of this play. They're still upkeeping their gold, and especially Calyx does need to get a reset in. We've got the Herald spawning in a minute and a half.
Before that comes around, I do want to open a convo about Orianna itemization, because I know it's been in interesting spots, right? There's a lot of path, double scaling build, etc. How do you feel about the Blackfire Torch Rush, and what does that tell you that we might see coming from Calyx next?
Well, it just means that when he presses his ultimate, when Nocturne lands, hopefully if he gets onto 4 members, the Baleful Fire that's a part of the passive will give him more AP so that his command dissonance does a little bit more. I have to always remember what the W is. Everyone knows what all the other ones, move and protect. Shockwave is a very obvious one. See that Weibo are fishing here. Still, they would just want control of top side. We should not be giving over. Transitioning into bot side is good for Tien's camps, but in terms of control for the tops, I mean, you still haven't cleared out a large portion of these wards, I should say, coming in for our LCK team.
So I'm going to take a good amount of poke there just to try and keep this first brick up. Nongshim secure that. They will get the little extra bounty of the feats of strength towards them as well. Feel like that turret going down is a certainty unless, ooh, I see a cheeky TP. That is going to be Breathe just to try and cover this top lane wave. He gives a look at Calyx, who did have that brush warded himself. So Breathe will trade out positions with Xiaohu. We'll see how that changes any sort of setup developments like you talked about for the top side with Herald mere seconds away from spawning.
All right. What else can we get here? I mean, they're going to move these people over for specific lanes. Breathe just teleported top side, but they know that he should be in the area. They had a ward set up behind him. Lens is clearing out vision. They're going to send the Rise into the Scion. I think interesting because, well, Scion doesn't have his teleport. His ultimate essentially allows him to make very similar movements compared to Rise. So they're going to be down numbers for Weibo Gaming.
I think they're down a Herald too. That thing is just completely cooked up and will fall. I guess they get a wave shoved into mid lane, some gold back to light, or maybe they'll look for a play here onto Calyx, or might be a turn play. The lights come out. World Ender pop there, and the TP from Xiaohu.
That's a win.
Yeah.
We take those. That's a huge win if I'm Nongshim. We get to control this side of the map. We lose our ultimate, but get a teleport and an ultimate. Huge for us. Scion's going to be able to hit on this bottom lane turret, and there's still a lot of HP to chunk through on this top tier one. So I think Nongshim are going to be coming the better out of it, especially in terms of gold. Whether or not Weibo are actually going to be able to fight, you're going to have to be walking into a shockwave. Here it is.
Yeah, and Xiaohu flashes out of it as we see it engage on a Jiwoo on the backside. Tien is spotting him out from the jungle. That takes the killer instinct out. But all the while this top lane play is going, Kingen is the real winner.
Kingen's going to be so strong in this fight. Like, who is going to kill him later on in the game? Maybe a 4-item Xayah, but it looks like with the items that he has in his inventory, he's going to go Infinity Edge second. He still needs to get LDR.
Ooh, good little dodge with the Feather Storm, but I suspect the slow coming across. Jiwoo, once again, cannot evade Tien, but this time he has something to say about it. Ward hop back towards light. Lot of these feathers coming down, but again, they don't get the Blade Caller snare. But luckily, Crisp is here. Gust of Blow stun. Can they cut down the Scion earlier? No, they have to respect Jiwoo's damage. And Gideon, everyone is flashing everywhere. But as Jiwoo finds the kill, they realm warp in. Light's going to try to get a kill. Supposed to see it back. He gets a good Blade Caller down. Tarek to the rescue to make sure Kingen doesn't fall as well. 80 for jungle swap there. 1 for 1.
All right, and Breathe stayed top lane. He has no flash. He got Calyx's flash during that play. Must have been topside. Forced the Orianna to reset. Now we see the teleport coming on through for Kingen. That's a good find for Weibo. I think while it is still 1,000 gold, getting the flash out from Jiwoo and from Calyx, that is about as good as it's going to get. But now we're going to be walking into a dragon where your team is going to be second to the play. Orianna should be able to get time to set up into this. And 2-item Kaisa versus 2-item Xayah, with the way that their compositions are built, this is going to be a tough ask here from Weibo. Do they actually want to contest this, or maybe they're just here to see if they can do a little bit of a dance with their opponents?
If there ever a time to trade gold, short value gold for the insurance of a dragon, it's in this game, right? This is second dragon of the game. We are 18 minutes in, so it is a very big long shot, especially now that we've split the first two, that anybody gets this soul and Weibo say, yeah, there's no reason for us to really create any action there. Let's just resituate, get on these mid waves. We have a top wave to answer. Breathe needs to get up there. The real big play is actually to protect this mid tier 1. Nongshim are going to use that momentum to cruise on in with the Herald. Tien and Breathe both show, so Weibo's full 5-4 versus Nongshim's. Lights go out. They're going to engage on top of Light. He uses the Feather Storm, though. Cosmic Radiance comes out a bit early. Weibo need to play this patiently out as the Taric ult does tick away. Chris goes back forward. Shockwave is only going to find Xiaohu, but he can walk himself out as well. Light, though, going to eat the Taric. Going to get blown up. Light completely out of position and ruins all of Weibo's momentum. And oh boy, they hit the Void Seeker on the Breathe, and Jiwoo flies right after him and has no problem cutting down the Aatrox. Light's misposition is to the dismay and demolishment of Weibo.
That was a really well-played fight coming in from Nongshim. Turn off the lights, as you had mentioned. And, I mean, Weibo just did not look on top of point. Like, I thought this fight maybe looked a little bit suspect because we didn't get to see Gideon and Calyx join together, but waiting for the turret to go down, Kingen gets a huge knock just into Xiaohu, but it slows down this fight. There's no abilities here from Light. I don't know why we're stepping up here, and he doesn't have Flash nor the Feather Storm. That completely breaks this open for Nongshim. It could have just been the tower and the reset coming on through for Weibo, but they lose so much more from this.
Yeah, just something that we've seen Plague Light many times. Just not on the same page, not respecting the cooldowns, the opponents, and it really cost Weibo. Now they're in desperation mode. They're trying to just force down this Otacon. Void Rush, Void Seeker. Oh my gosh, I'm getting my Void abilities mixed up. Killer Instinct coming up for Jiwoo, so he can join any fight here. Tien has been much better on the Smite Key this game. Will he win again against Gideon? No. It's secured by Nongshim. And oh my god, Xiao got deleted on the front side of this fight. And a Scion comes out of the top screen with a deadly teleport flank. Weibo went desperation mode for Otacon to try and save this game too. And they come up with nothing but grains of sand.
All right. So, surely a 10,000 gold lead is enough for Nongshim to win this game. Right? Right? Well, we'll see. It's the Otacon. It's the Otacon as well. This team does not get much easier to play against right now. And Nongshim, this is the reason why this Orianna is so dangerous. Like, you're going to be walking into Fog of War. You're going to play into this fight. I just want to watch Calyx during all of this because he's zoning Xiaohu on the right side of this play. Lahenz as well being a big reason as to why we saw this fight work so well. You have the invulnerability, the stun. It's just a pure counter coming on through for everything that Weibo want to do. And this is more of that kind of loose-looking Weibo gaming that we've been afraid of all ASI and almost all of the year for LPL.
It's going to take a miracle comeback or a Game 3 angle now for Weibo. And where do we even look next here? Baron's still a decent ways away. So we can take a look at some of these items as we get to a 3-item Kaisa. We got a Profane and a Black Cleaver for extra boost towards both of these damage dealers, shredding through some of that armor. And speaking of it, Kingen has got so much of it just to assuage any sort of big-time team fight, mostly here from Breathe. It's Weibo again going after Calyx and his shutdown. Nearly going to stasis as Tien takes up the turret. He's going to flash after Tien and force his flash. Good little look on the Shockwave to at least trade some summoners. But Weibo will complete the dive, as always, at a cost.
I'm okay with this, though. They're the team that has the objective bounties. Pity prizes going over to Weibo. They're going to look for more here. A second one might be good enough, but do Nongshim just end the game?
Scion ult knocks the turrets down low. Cosmic Radiance is going to make them very strong to fight in these close quarters. And oh my god, it's Jiwoo again. He's just running down Breathe. There's the kill found in the fountain. Another stun from her hands into this Tien Lee Sin. It's one Nexus turret that's doing a lot of work, though. Light getting some of these blades down, but the blade caller falls short, and he doesn't even cast his Feather Storm or his Flash. But I guess his death is a martyr to save Weibo in this game.
Okay, wait, Nongshim, Jiwoo's not going to be up for 35. And the dragon does spawn in 20. I don't think it makes it. There it is. Okay, he knows. I'm glad that at least Godwall is watching the games. But this could be a dragon here coming on through for Weibo. They need to get back out onto the map a little bit fast. 6,000 gold lead here still for Nongshim. And a teleport from both Calyx and from the support of Nongshim. Oh, Lehens is in. Lehens should be fine. Yep, takes the blast cone out.
Powered blast cone, hell of a drug. Yep, all right, Chemtech Drake. Weibo just going to take this one down if they can. Jiwoo's back up and racing towards his squad with no killer instinct, so he's going to have to walk the whole way here. Weibo, this is not a dragon we really need to fight over, given how far behind you are.
You just lose the game otherwise.
Yeah, I guess we just scrap it out. Tien wants to go for Flact on the Calyx, but he finds Jiwoo. Oh my god, that is 80 carries balance and all of their holy matrimony. Jiwoo comes in at the last second, shuts down the flank, and that is it for Weibo. They made it close. They made it decently close at the end with some dive shenanigans, but this time Nongshim will retain a massive gold lead and win the game behind it. We go the distance in our first ever match of the ASI knockout stage.
There it is. Okay, let's get over to game number 3. Let's bring up our cams. Godwall lied. He lied to us. He told us that we were going to win. We were going to win game 2. That ended up being the case.
No, that did not. And it's funny how similarly that game went, right? It was Tien doing some shenanigans in an early game to really get ahead of Gideon. But then it was Nongshim that have just been much more poised in those early game skirmishes. And this time they close it out.
Yeah. Let's take a look. Got some post-game graphics. There we go. Wow. Jiwoo. Always a player that we have to be watching out for, even if he hasn't really hit the high highs of his debut in the LCK. It has been a couple of years, but I think Jiwoo, when given the chance, can take over. And we got to see the creativity of Lehens actually make a pretty big difference here in this game.
And now that we're into a stage of this tournament where it is LPL versus LCK, even if the LPL is outnumbered, man, it hurts my heart a little bit. Again, our best ADs for the LPL are at Worlds, but also the best ADs for the LCK are at Worlds. So take as much stock as you will on that one. I feel like the marksman gap has been pretty massive in this tournament between these two regions. I can't lie.
I mean, sure, Light hasn't obviously been the best player that we've seen, especially for his own standards. Maybe part of that is he's having to play with Crisp again. But I don't know. Like, Pei has definitely looked a lot worse than what we saw from him throughout the year. Leave still felt like he was playing good old League of Legends. I would say, yeah, Diablo's obviously a cracked kid. That guy is a wizard on the keys.
Yep. Get to see him next up against Aiming, so that will be an LCK known matchup. But we still have a third game to get through here as we roll into the second phase of highlights where, yeah, it was just a lot of Nongshim holding resolve in this composition that could really stall out fights, and kind of felt like the last little ditch effort for Weibo to maybe scrape this game back was thrown out in this last fight, in particular in the mid lane.
Oh yeah, I mean this one was pretty tough as well. Like, we're just getting owned by Tarek the entire time. Great Tarek angle. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like who's MVP, and I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna go over to Jiwoo.
Yeah,
but
probably.
Lehens deserves it. Like his entire champion just nullified everything that Weibo. This fight was so mad to me because he uses it the very last second.
He had flash too.
Tough look. Jiwoo finds Tien. Tien thinking, oh, I can kill this guy. He's like, oh, I just got one shot.
Yeah,
yep,
4 item Kai'Sa, by the
buddy.
way. Yeah, and then he just ghosts on in and runs down. Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a Jiwoo MVP for this one. I would expect it. You know, I'm with you though. Giving some love to the supports. I still think supports have been getting robbed at this tournament. Elio, I will still stand with you for that game 2 against JDG, my friend. I'll never forget. Did they already give it? Did we miss it?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, okay,
It'll come. They do a little bit of preamble, and then they toss it over.
I've seen it straight out the highlight. Oh, okay, you know what? I should stop downing. Oh, okay.
I watch every single show, man. There we
Don't
go.
mute my microphone. All right, Jiwoo. All right, so Jiwoo grabs that MVP. Aptly deserved for this Kaisa performance. Definitely a bitter taste for the LPL team to get blasted by the champion we always hold in tote with the region, but Jiwoo proves to be much better on the keys this game. Nongshim with a great response to Weibo's chaotic Game 1 win, but all of that now goes into the past, and we look towards the future, because in the present, we're going to go another short break. But on the other side, in the future, Game 3 draft, Weibo versus Nongshim. right, game 3 underway here. LPL English unofficial Twitch channel. Asia Invitational, first round of the knockout stage. No elimination at stake, but pride as Weibo try to defend an entire region from the LCK onlookers in this tournament. And what a good way to support those vibes here at the LPL English. They're being the first team through to the semifinals, upper bracket. We'll have to see if they get that done as we're getting set for a game 3 draft.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Remember, there are only 3 LCK teams that were invited to this tournament, and all 3 of them made it into the bracket stage. LPL sent 3, and we only got 1, and it is Weibo by themselves, the 6th seed. Not the highest, not the lowest, but that nice Goldilocks zone in the middle. And with a strong performance versus D plus Kia, the highest seed from the LCK, a amazing game 1 that was at least entertaining, if at the very least. Now they kind of have to bounce back, and Nongshim have been a team that have been having a lot of high highs, but a lot of low lows, very similarly to this team, but I think with just a lot more young and a little bit more fresh, raw talent.
They definitely have gotten some creativity, though, from their veterans, and you mentioned it, Lehens on the Tarek pick in game 2 was pretty wondrous. I wonder what he's going to do in this game 3 draft, especially knowing now that he'll be on red side. You talked about how you have to exercise a lot of caution against Nongshim drafts, knowing that if you pick support early, there's some flexibility in these drafts. Now, you could be faced with a point where Lehens is going to get a counter pick in support no matter what, as that final game 3 draft is upon us. And let's see how the bands switch up. Nothing has changed about Tien and Kiana, though. No access.
Wow, a Kali Sivir this time for Weibo, though, changing up the band strategy. They themselves might be looking for an Azir first pick now that both Ryze, Orianna, and the Galio are gone. And top lane is a pretty interesting landscape right now because there's 5 champions banned from top lane at this moment. The Ambessa, the Sion, the Aatrox, and then Rumble and Renekton are gone thanks to that first game from Nongshim. So what do our solo laners look here, as they have been the biggest input in this series alone? Xiaohu versus Calyx, it feels like veteran versus a very, very fresh player to tier 1, and then Breathe versus Kingan, kind of a very weird matchup where Kingan is trying to win through the laning phase.
LeBlanc Cassante reflecting that solo lane sentiment there from you, Alk. So taking away some pretty big mainstays. Calyx loves the LeBlanc. Breathe is a big fan of the Cassante. Feel like it's got to be a jungle lean. We still have Zinzao up there. Oh, I totally forgot about the Shreeman Emperor. So
I told you, Azir first pick.
Yeah, so Nongshim, why do Nongshim leave the Azir up? That is what I want to figure out as we move into their draft.
Maybe they've got something ready for us, right? Like Calyx?
Calyx zigs mid. He learned from Knight. Let's see. Let's see it.
Who knows? Kingan can also go for a bit of a blind somewhere here. Most likely what I'm going to expect from Nongshim is we're going to go mid-jungle on this 2. Going for the Taliyah. Not the most popular matchup as the year has gone by, especially Taliyah being hit with some nerfs. Her itemization's changed a little bit, but it was a very, very early answer into Azir. That was back in like February, March, so things might have changed between now and then.
Trundle going to be picked up here for Gideon, so a lot of skirmish threat coming through here early. Both of our games so far this series have been marred by some wackiness coming into the jungle, and Gideon has not been on the favorable side of it. The Trundle definitely a champion that can kind of combat that, and we're going to have Tien go for this Sejuani. All right, that is, a very mainstay tank facilitating pick, but definitely interesting given what other options were left up. Good to see them pair a melee with it, though, so it'll be Breathe with the Jax.
I love the Jax into Taliyah plus Trundle. I don't necessarily love the Sejuani into Trundle, but I mean, sure, you get to sap some of her Winter's armor from her passive, usually as an HP stacking tank, so kind of surprised to see it. It just seems like Weibo are falling back on old classics. Let's just play range, let's play a good solid team fight. You are now disincentivized to play things like Jinx, as we can see here for Jiwoo, but kind of feels what I am getting from this Nongshim draft is now we are going for essentially a pick composition. We're going to try and blow up one member with a Trundle Pillar, with Talia set up as well, and just let Jiwoo and hopefully the picks that come afterwards carry us through fights.
Let Jiwoo cook as a late game insurance policy has worked half the time. And it got close in game 1, so you can't ever hate doing that sort of move. But now we're going to start banning away facilitator picks. I really like that Jin ban. I think this is a game where Light could have just played Jin, sat back as like a facilitating piece with these deadly flourishes, and let Xiaohu and Breathe kind of run some of those fights. So I do like that ban already coming down. I am intrigued to see what we see from a Light champion pool now, because he's gotten a lot of his heavy hitters out of the way, especially with Corki game 1 and now the Jin banned away. I wonder where he goes.
Honestly, this could just be an Ezreal game. Like, Ezreal versus this team. It will mean that you are not as able to kind of match the Jinx for the hyper carries. Light and Crisp used to be a duo that would play Caitlyn Lux lanes a lot, but that has definitely fallen to the wayside.
Ezreal ban, though. Going to eliminate one of those options. They're trying to ban out for Lehens. Not really ban out for Lehens. They're trying to just cover the bases of really good pairings here with the Jinx. I do like floating that Leona ban. I think Leona, like you talked about, it's a pick comp initially to get the Jinx going. If you hit a Solar Flare stun and you get all that Trundle Talia magic behind it, it's a good setup. So taking the Leona out of this game is big. I feel like that's the one big engaged support left up besides the Rel floating around.
This is probably a Gragas top coming on through for King In. It has an okay matchup versus the Jax. Definitely has gotten a lot weaker. There's no Aatrox, you can't really play that. We've seen King In play the Gragas this tournament already. He's gonna go for the Gnar. Alright. So, decent enough team fighting. I'm a little worried for the Gnar in lane. Are we going to opt for a lane swap here from Weibo? Jax is a lot better at playing these than the Gnar, but depends on what the AD carry is going to be and what the supports are going to look like here, because Nautilus, in my mind, is really, really dangerous, but they're giving that R5, like we had mentioned, to Lehens. Oh, are we actually going to get the Caitlyn? Okay, that's one. We get Caitlyn Elise. Okay, so good into the Nocturne, or good into the Nautilus that I'm prepping here.
Yeah, that kind of takes a lot of the hook champion power out here for Lehens. We came into this final game 3 talking about Lehens, always creative, very wide champion pool, willing to try very non-traditional things. What do they do if they give him R5? Well, we are now here, and we are waiting with bated breath just like all you at home. There are so many ways this could go, and it'll go with the Rakan, which I do think isn't a bad look.
I mean, sure, it also is a champion that if you get hit with a Cocoon, you don't have the natural tank stats that some of the other engaged supports have, so you will just get blown up. Let's see if Weibo's composition works. This is all about range. This is all about the keep away. Let's see if we can keep our opponents at arm's length away from us so that our Azir can hit, our Caitlyn can fire those headshots. And for Nongshim, it's basically, can we get one good team fight where our Jinx gets to pop off and run through the rest of this team? I don't know if she has the ability to play with the range, and if she has the front line that is required for this Jinx to be able to thrive.
You know, it's very, intriguing about that point you just made there, Alk, is that those were the two things, the two markers that we didn't feel like Jiwoo had on the Yunar in game 1. Those two exact ones, range and front line.
Very true. All right. We're getting into game number 3. All of our series here in the knockout stage will be best of 3s until the grand finals, which is a best of 5. And whoever wins this match has to play later tonight. They have to play against the winner of DK versus BNK FearX, which very, very long day for all of our teams competing. And this is a double elim bracket, so at least a second life being on the table here for these two.
No elimination, but a chance to be a series away from that best of 5 that Alk is talking about, because by the end of today, we will have one half of that ASI Grand Final matchup. Will it be either of our two teams here? Will it be Weibo bringing some LPL pride through with all the chips stacked in the LCK favor? We will have to see as we return to a very familiar battle arena once more. We go live to Summoner's Rift. And I'm just prepping more jungle shenanigans, but calmer waters showing for now with a pretty traditional fan start across the board. As I say that, though, Light and Chris take the opportunity to set up shop in these brushes that are going to torment Lehens and Jiwoo all lane long.
That's the whole point. Let's just get Jiwoo behind early. Xiaohu gets a massive chunk done onto him. He's going to have to take a recall. He might just lose out on a large portion of the early wave. Does he opt to stay?
Looks like he will hang around for now. Oh my god, we talked about it. I spoke it into existence. Oh, treacherous brushes tormenting Nongshim's bottom lane. Lehens burns the heel. Crisp gets that one out, and just like you called, Hulk, Rakan cannot tank up a Cocoon Elise Caitlyn combo very well.
You can see that Breathe. He's on vision this time around. Breathe will now know. But when you have the Counter Strike, it's very tough for King to opt in. Interesting builds coming on through. This is obviously we've seen Electrocute for Elise in the past before, but this is a Grasp of the Undying on Jax. Not used to what I'm seeing, so maybe just recognizing that short trades are probably going to be better. I don't think you can really opt into longer trades versus what Nongshim are showing, and especially in the laning phase. So 2 lanes at really weird timers here. It is going to be Jiwoo actually picking up a large portion of the first 2 waves by himself, with Lehens taking an early recall.
And we've got both jugglers mirroring so far. They're both pathing down. It's going to give a lot more power to Gideon on the Crab. The Trundle much more strong in that aspect. But like you mentioned, I wonder if Tien wants to get aggressive with how much bottom lane prio there is. Hasn't decided to skip any camps yet. That's Jiwoo's cleanse out from a Cocoon. Wow, a lot of respect towards Crisp.
Always got to be careful, especially when you're under turret. I was like, oh, I don't know if we're really looking for this. Chris trying to play in Fog of War, but a single ward there from Nongshim is going to make sure that they know something is going on here. He will also spot Gideon thanks to the Scryer's Bloom. And without this cleanse, Jiwoo does need to be very careful. Anytime that there is a human form Elise, and if they have control of the brushes, every brush could potentially be a stun. There's the Cocoon going wide as I say it. And
here's Tien.
Tien just keep using his bottom lane prio.
All right, so should be able to lock up this Crab. They do have mid lane prio. Calyx roams over first, and all right, Lehens and Jiwoo are going to sacrifice some control to try and stop it, but one smite from Tien, and he gets the bot Crab. Looks to advance further here with the cover of Crisp. The power of a Caitlyn Elise lane, but I will say Nongshim have done a pretty good job respecting it so far. It's a decent CS lead, but things have gone a lot worse into a Caitlyn Elise bottom lane.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All things considered, we come back from the early laning phase. Obviously, Xiaohu got chunked out early, but he's fine. He's just now teleporting back into lane. Lehens got chunked out, but it seems like the experience has really started to even out. A good trade coming on through from Lehens and Jiwoo onto this Elise. So it is a massive experience and goal differential. Not experience, but goal differential between our 80 carries. We need to see Light have a big performance here in this game, who throughout the year we've had a lot of criticisms for this player.
A lot of criticisms for a lot of this roster, but Weibo have shown a sort of 7th gear to lean into here. So ever since the D plus Kia series win, it felt like they can compete with the best in this tournament. And they're trying to do it again with this bottom lane aggression. Good job there from Chris with the repel. Gets out of the grand entrance. So we do see the first set backs coming through for some of these junglers, and the first Drake hitting the rift. Always a threat with this Trundle. Kind of just burn through that dragon on your own. We'll see if Gideon ever feels like he's in a space to do that, but it all revolves around the bottom lane. Everything about this game right now being warped by the CS lead that Light and Crisp has built up. Light is also going to get himself a solo plate right in the face of Jiwoo and Lehens laying down these traps. It is just Light dictating everything right now in the bot lane.
This is good. He's getting plates. He's up 500 gold, but it's what you do with this gold that is important. Xiaohu does not get the sweep down onto Calyx, but it's his flash 2 minutes before the grub spawn. I think that is a good timer coming on through for Weibo.
Revisit that indeed. So we do have Tien nearby covering. Xiaohu's going to take that base. Doesn't have the recall. Wonder if Tien will look to try and start up this dragon. We saw last game that we had a 12-minute first Drake. Soul wasn't really a big factor, but then again, Soul is winless in this series. So keep that one in mind going forward. Grub's still about 2 minutes out, so not going to be much here. I'm curious to see what Chris wants to do, though, right? Because they've gotten a huge lead for Light. I think he's pretty comfortable in this lane unless he really misplays. So where can Chris go to try to further accentuate this lead here for Weibo in the early phase? Good little dodge there from Lehens, but he is going to have to flash. Tien predicts it, gets the stun. One more auto from Light with the lethal tempo. No,
He's
and
dead.
the turret's actually going to get Lehens for his blood. Oh, Light.
Yep, that's the problem. We still haven't recalled here. Jiwoo gets this wave to himself. He even gets the cancel Tien. I would have loved to have seen Light and this bottom lane move into top side, muscle away this Gnar, because you know that you have an advantage. You know that Jinx is weak. And, I mean, she only has... Oh, God, Breathe is probably dead too now.
Yeah, pillar for the slow. Breathe doesn't even flash. Oh, guys, saw the vision too. You just move the power lane top side. You switch the map, give Breathe some more space, but it all comes crashing down.
All right, it's just 2 kills, and still I think Weibo are in a decent enough position to still be able to fight. Remember, all of the gold still onto Light here for Weibo Gaming, and it was Hens that picked up that first kill. So not going to, I think, move the needle all that much, just kind of an action that ends up slowing the game down in favor of Nongshim. So we get set up around this objective. Let's take stock of what we have. We have no flash on Calyx and Lehens for Nongshim, and for Weibo, I mean, you basically have everything back up. And now it's Breathe who's teleporting down onto the bottom side. So I still think that Nongshim have a bit of work to be able to get done here. And we haven't even considered the fact that Xiaohu will have his ultimate for this play.
Tien sitting on his. That's the big threat to Calyx. He has to respect whenever the Elise and Caitlyn are together. There's a lot of burst potential. Kingen flanking around in mini-Gnar form. Gideon and Lehens are leading a bit of a charge. It's a Weaver's Wall coming down to try and trap Tien, and we might have to see one of those flashes come off the board. Or Tien just dodges any sort of crowd control and walks right back in to the belly of the beast. First grub down there. Kingen going to get engaged on with that Glacial Prison. Lehens gets a 2-man knockup, though, onto Light and Chris. The rocket sinks through. Kingen is not going to be able to transform pretty soon here. Light is going to have to flash over the wall. The pillar, though, is really well placed there from Gideon. And the gold-leading Light Caitlyn is cut down.
That's 2 kills now. Let's go look at bottom side. Breathe just got himself a plate. I don't think that's going to be enough here. Nongshim should get 3 grubs during all of this. And we did not get to see Xiaohu, the man in the mid lane, step up for his team. He was, I don't even think he was necessarily marked away by Jiwoo, but didn't get time to really find a sweep. Maybe they catch Lehens here, but he still has his battle dance, everything. It'll be a single grub that does go over to Weibo, but this is the value that Trundle, I always talk about. Trundle Pillar, man. One of the most broken basic abilities in the game. It gives you a slow, it gives you terrain that you have to walk around, and there, it ends up trapping Light.
Really big there for Nongshim. Yeah. The Trundle Pillar is such a high value
I want him
ability.
to summon a pillow for me. I think it'd actually be pretty bad considering our track record here for ASI. We should not be summoning up Trundle pillows.
No, I'm not summoning that anytime soon. I have to back up team play-by-play as we're the only team of the 3 teams on broadcast that has not suffered a night time. Rafa, if you're listening, lock in, all right? Just remember that going forward. What I wanted to say, though, you talked about how Trundle Pillar is a really powerful basic ability. You know what I do think is sneakily powerful about our support matchup and Lehens getting that 1 kill? It's because Crisp was on this Elise, the most broken support item ever. Redemption's not even coming from Crisp. And now you give that 1 kill over to Lehens. He is going to get to that Redemption a bit earlier. I'm curious to see how much value that will bring as an item to these fights for Nongshim.
Okay, so it's going to be Tien getting here. I mean, right now what we're kind of looking at is whether or not Nongshim can get to 2 items, because Jinx would be really strong. Caitlyn is still waiting to finish a collector here. They're taking control of mid.
All right.
Oh, Icy
Jimmy.
cold.
Oh my God, Xiaohu dodges the hard abilities, walks into the bright light of the chopper.
The hands are ice cold. All right. This is problematic now because Gideon's going to come over. He has a Sheen. All this does is prevent Xiaohu from recalling. This could be potentially 3 turret plays going over with these 2 grubs. That's a pretty big win in my book if you're Nongshim.
What can Chris really do to stop this? To try and clear the way with Spiderlings? Yeah, I think he's just a bystander. This is going to be first turret. All of those, this is, wow, that gold lead really just balloons out of nowhere. 1,000 gold up for Nongshim, and again, they're the comp that has a decent amount of late game insurance policies and later stage team fighting for them. Mainly Kingen and Jiwoo, who both are now back up ahead in gold alongside all of Nongshim, and Kingen starting to win some of these trades into Breathe as well. This is, again, the spot of the last two games where we were most worried about Weibo. It didn't cost them in Game 1 thanks to some fantastic team fighting. It dropped them quickly in Game 2. What do we have in store for us in our final match?
I don't want to get it twisted for everyone at home. I still do think that Weibo win the game if we go later. You just have so much range because of the Azir, and hopefully you get to have a stopping measure with having the Sejuani on your team. Breathe has to be careful. There's not enough members. Tien is coming, so is Chris, but they're going to be very late to this play. No Mega here for Kingen anymore.
Okay, Kingen trying to use the hens as a body block. He's going to walk back through the turret. Tien is here. Good double hop, though. Gideon going to get re-engaged on. Uses the subjugate onto Tien, and that's going to really shut down any sort of re-engage here from Chris or Breathe, knowing they can't get through all those resistances, and it's more turret plates farmed up here as Calyx is trying to pigeonhole Xiaohu in, knowing he doesn't have that Emperor's Divide. Xiaohu does have the ult coming back up shortly. Will he look to get crafty here out of the brush? Waiting for Calyx to step forward. There's the seismic shove missed. Xiaohu.
Oh, no!
Right. Okay. Oh, it was all bait. Light drops the ace of the hole, gets the kill on the bot side. We see Jiwoo. Oh, boy. They're going to get the Jinx the reset. There it goes. Jiwoo gets excited. Breathe. You cannot hold on to that flash much longer, my friend. Trundle Pillar is going to force it out. Leheads goes after him for a grand entrance. It's a little short. And Kingen doesn't even double hop over the wall. So it's a 1-for-1 across the map.
All right, come on. Xiaohu, how much gold are we getting on the opposite side? We're not hitting this turret. We're not finishing this off. Side lane gold for Azir is nice. He'll finish his first item coming out of base here. This has to be an Asher suit. That's good. This is a good, I guess, recompense for what has been going on. Breeze should be able to survive. There's Hellbar behind.
Xiaohu, he held onto his ultimate and hardbar into 2, though. Breathe is fine. Crisp has the repel if he needs it, does get knocked up, or maybe he doesn't have the repel. He's cut down first. Xiaohu has to use the Emperor's Divide defensively, but the Trundle Pillar and the power of Jinx. Xiaohu's flank is brought to a grinding halt, and Nongshim turn their attention to more turret plates, and they're actually going to lose the plating now. They're just going to pick up this bot tier 1. Nongshim have so much more real estate on the map right now. Oh, it's getting worse.
Slayer, you know what I just realized? If this wasn't just LPL English, we could be, we can be a little balanced about this. This is basically a Nongshim 3-0. If they win this game. If they win this game, this series is essentially a 3-0.
If you go by minutes ahead of the games, yeah, it doesn't look good for Weibo. I think they've been ahead in, what do we want to give them? Like
1.5. I'll say 1.5 game. 1.5 games they've been ahead at 15.
Okay. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Surely, it's so funny, right? Because I'm glad you corrected me. That like the range and the Azir, Jax, even the Caitlyn items, there is scaling here. But I am also like looking at an Elise, and I don't know if it's just like having to watch Yanni Turbo lose on Elise after like the first 15 minutes.
He griefed me today, bro. He griefed me on this champion today. He was very old on the Elise.
It's just, all right,
Here we go.
We'll save those discussions. Tien, the only tank? Yep, blown up. Jiwoo gets the reset. A lot of damage out of Light on the backside. Calyx flashes out, but he's on vision. Ace in the hole. Light gets a kill back here, but the problem is Jiwoo is accelerated, and Breathe is the next one to learn to pay the toll. Nice little slam there from Kingen, and there's nothing for Light to do. Flash doesn't matter. It's a 3-for-1 special here for Nongshim on kills.
They just don't have very much proactive engage. The only thing that Weibo can do is throw out a Sejuani ult. Maybe they land a Cocoon. This is the same problem we saw from Game 1, but from Nongshim's perspective, where they have great team fighting abilities, but the actual ability to step forward and walk in, Trundle plus Rakan is really good, and Lehens is making this game look easy for his team here. He gets the knock up onto Tien, corrals him into one side. They get to set up with this ult from this knock up from Calyx. Even if he does go down, triple kill coming on through for Jiwoo is exactly what they need. It's 4 kills for free going over to Nongshim.
And now they continue their assault. See if the second dragon gets started up. That should be a freebie for Gideon. And I want to point out the turret the disparagement of turrets on the map as well. Like all these little pick plays in the jungle, these don't happen if you don't knock down the 3 first turrets. So it's really hampering Weibo's ability to set up because they constantly have to be clearing out vision in their own jungle, looking out for Lehens in their own jungle. This Trundle, this Jinx, this Talia that could pop out from anywhere. It's what really slows down any comeback mechanics for this one. And, well, a pillar wall combination. Nongshim are really dialed in on the terrain advantages they have in this matchup.
I think that the fact that we're looking for a fast play like that from Calyx is really heads up from him. They're going to summon the Herald in mid, just corral them away from the mid lane. Maybe they even get themselves an excited proc here. See that Jiwoo is connecting with the rest of the team as Gideon wants to look for something, but it is Breathe on a side lane. Try to finish this turret. He'll get it with the Demolish proc and the almost Trinity Force he has. It is going to be an objective bounty going over to Weibo, but they're losing everything else around the map. A turret falls in mid for Jiwoo.
That is a plus gold trade. Crystal going to try and blow him up. Redemption value. There it is for Lehens. But Glacial Prison is much better. Jiwoo flashing away, but Chris will follow with the repel, and Lehens is going to get bailed out by another clutch Trundle pillar, but that is a good way to trade back the tier 2 gold that Jiwoo just gained by shutting him down.
They're not going to get anything for this. At most, what I expect is that Xiaohu will get this top tier 1. Maybe Calyx ends up teleporting after he finishes his blue buff. This is nothing here for Weibo. There's still 2 minutes before an Otacon even spawns here, so it's a minor win. Jiwoo no flash is something that can be punished, but I have just not seen enough here from Weibo. Maybe on these second items they'll feel a lot more powerful. Xiaohu, if he gets a second item on this Azir, Caitlyn's looking like they're getting closer and closer to that Infinity Edge. There could be an angle, but it's becoming more and more desperate with a 4,000 gold lead here for Nongshim.
And they're targeting more turrets here. They're pushing Gideon onto this bot side lane with Calyx to try and threaten it, or maybe just cover Calyx from a Breathe all in. Most of the attention for Nongshim is going to come into this Otacon that will be spawning on that top side in about a minute's time. And they've got some second items they'd like to get through by this point as well. We see that Calyx recalls to get a couple key components for what I believe will be maybe a Rallies. There's a lot of things Blasting Wand and Sealed Spellbook will go for. Jiwoo, though, going to get on to that Immortal Shield Bow second item. Definitely not your normal Jinx path. Or that's not Immortal Shield Bow, that's LDR.
Yes.
Whoops.
But we could expect a Shield Bow maybe later in the game. Probably is just going to be the Rylai's, though, for Xiaohu. I think the slows versus this team get a lot of value, so it makes sense there. We're in very dangerous territory. I feel like Weibo lose one more big team fight around an objective, and I struggle to see them winning this game. They've got a little bit of groundwork with a small leash given to them by Nongshim, but Otacon spawns in 20 seconds. Dragon spawns in 2 minutes. I'm struggling to see if they can necessarily gather the amount of resources required to be able to fight. Maybe with Xiao on a side lane. He's basically the most fed member for this team, and he's going to have to carry them.
By the way, I want your take on this because I always gauge my takes on some of these builds by what you think of them. All right, we might not have time.
Okay.
Hold on.
Maybe.
I love the Spear of Visage second from Gideon. I think it's actually really cracked. Mainly because you're looking at Elise, Jax has some AP, and then Azir. And then also, there's no heal cut, so that Subjugate will actually heal you a lot with the Spear Visage. So we'll see how
the Spear Visage plus his W, giving him an increased healing as well. He's pretty dangerous to deal with. I like the shout out there. This Otacon is for free. Unless Tien makes a miracle steal, which we've seen time and time again.
Nice Weaver's Wall.
Oh!
And he gets flicked, but he gets close enough. Oh my god, that went down to 1,300. They do flick King and back, but he just hops back over the wall and follows the rest of his team. And now Gideon's unleashed. Running down light. The Rocket's going to go wide, but the Otacon secured there by Nongshim. And They'll just set right back into their oppressive side lane set.
There it is. Talia Wall pulls him on forward. Now, I won't consider that a big team fight loss, but it was the Otacon, and now they have 36 petals, which, if you don't know, if you have the Otacon and you have above 30, you will get increased value from the Spirit Petals, giving you a little bit more experience, a little bit more adaptive force, as long as it's above 30. So, good job for Nongshim. They get to leapfrog over their opponents when it comes to experience, especially Kingen, who's about to be 3 levels over Breathe.
Not a good recipe for this Jax that really needs those levels.
Damn.
And just time to scale here. Time to start knocking on more turrets. Gideon loves swinging that club at structures. Bot lane tier 2 to go to the wayside. And you're starting to see the, oh my god, the power that Xiaohu is not able to wield, losing his flash now. The power for Crisp. It's so hard to play this Elise out once these comps just group up. Oh, it does set up for a good headshot, so at least Light gets 1 kill back. It supports traded. Oh my god, Light's damage is ludicrous onto Kingen. Gideon having to block the ace of the hole, or that would have been a double up.
Well, all of the experience. Look at the boots here from Nongshim. It's MR, MR, and then MR here for Lahens. There is no armor here coming on through from Nongshim, so they think the most important members are going to be Tien and Xiaohu here. Maybe even trying to stop a little bit of that damage from Crisp. It's the Dragon going over to our LCK's representative. And while it is a single kill onto Lahens, I don't think it's going to be worth it there. And now, Slayer, we are looking towards the Baron in 2.5 minutes from here on out. How much more time can we get from Weibo to stall this one? It isn't a Rylai's from Xiaohu. It looks like it is just going to be a Void Staff here. Pretty interesting. Kind of a reflection of what the builds are looking like right now. But if they lose this Baron to Nongshim, I just don't know how much time we are willing to give to our opponents, because we're very closely getting to 3 items here for some of the carries on Nongshim.
And the Rallies for Calyx is super valuable to try and cut down some of that range. He hits any of these spells, you get the slow, and you cut down that gap much quicker. Nongshim, still pretty antsy, still want to play with what they deem to be a pretty significant lead, so they're going to overload back towards the top side. Again, I think, oh, hold on. They get the cocoon onto Calyx into Glacial Prison, but he flashes back. There's enough damage coming through from Xiaohu. They're going to get the flank onto Breathe. Calyx is in desperate danger. Nongshim, can they even rescue this at all? No. They're going to have to secede their mid laner. It took all 5, but Weibo get themselves another valuable pick.
That was a lot of summoner spells used as well. Crisp Heal, the Ghost from Light, as well as the Teleport there from Breathe. It does mean that Calyx will not have Flash for this Baron and the Dragon that spawns after it. All this is just a moment of reprieve. Now there's a numbers advantage on the map at any point here for Weibo. All they need to do is just slow things down. Generate a lead for yourself. Now it is 2-item Azir. Maybe there's a little bit more game to play, but I still have yet to see a part of this game number 3 where Weibo convincingly look like the better team.
And on top of that, it's still a lot more time before Breathe becomes a raid boss Jax. I think he is the one quietly just a lot farther behind the 8 ball. Tien, again, is the one with the biggest gold discrepancy, but this is a Sejuani. The value of Sejuani at 2 items, the gold leads don't matter. You're getting the same thing out of Sejuani. Breathe can't really be a side lane threat right now, and he can't be one of those like flanking big-time Jax team fighters. All that culminating with just the solo lanes for Weibo in general being behind the curve. Yeah, it's a time game, and they're about to get sped. The clock is about to get sped up because Baron is here. Nongshim won't have the side lanes in the best spot. Xiaohu's now going to reset, but Gideon doesn't care.
Xiaohu can teleport for this play. Kingen also will not have Mega Gnar for this, so this is now a window for Weibo to try to get into the pit here. Tien's moving up forward with Breathe. Crisp is right behind him, and Xiaohu is just now entering the play. Baron might go over.
Oh, Tien, though. Look, he's trapped up next to the pillar. Gideon just needs to finish the Baron. Tien can't get it. He tries to fly desperately, but it goes down. And Jiwoo gets excited off the Baron and doubles up on the kill on top of Tien. Charm knock up onto Light. That was a served up supper for Gideon to munch down on, courtesy of Lahens. Breathe with the Counter-Strike stun is just going for a desperate play. It's Xiaohu with a huge flick back, but it was too little, too late, and they might have just signed their death warrant with the solos dropping. Nongshim may have sputtered in game 1, but they've looked dominating ever since, and they will go to the upper semifinals of the Asia Invitational with a game 3 win over Weibo.
That's going to be Nongshim going and waiting for tonight's opponents. BNK Fearex versus D plus Kia. And now Weibo waiting for either of these opponents in the lower bracket. Congratulations over to them. Swap back to our lovely faces. Technically the wrong lovely faces, as I meant the live view. Boom. But still, I still feel like that was a BNK or a Nongshim 3-0. They won basically 3 out of the 3 early games for the most part. They tripped and fumbled in game number 1, obviously, but I don't know. That was a, you know what? That was the Weibo that we were expecting coming into this tournament.
Yeah, it was. They tried to deceive us, but just a lot of disconnection. They just never really got to, I don't know. I kind of hated Tien playing Sejuani, and this is why. I think the team has no real oomph unless he can lead with some damage, you know? It's just tank Sejuani, he can find these angles, but it doesn't look pretty unless the rest of the team is behind him. I'll give you some time to break that down. I need a prop for the rest of this post.
Go for it. Go for it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Tien didn't really get to play the game in a lot of instances. We also saw Xiaohu stay on a side lane and then not interact with the team. You're trying to hide the prop, okay? All right.
Did you see the prop?
I didn't see the prop, but I hope it's a really big Diet Coke can that you're clenching between your cheeks to bring on the show.
It wasn't between my cheeks.
Okay.
hey, yo. This is really how we're gonna end off my last. This is
yes.
This is my last. I know I said it 4 times during the end of the fall, but this is actually my last LPL English broadcast. We're talking about things between my cheeks. Thanks, Super Trooper, Alk, and producer Alk, and co-color caster Alk.
All right. What's the prop?
And Unk Alk, because you just had your birthday.
How old are you, Slayer?
I look 32, but I am 24.
Okay, all right.
Chat won't believe me on that one.
Chat will not believe you. I'm sorry. You should take a picture of your ID and you should show it right in front of the camera.
You know what the funniest part? You know what the funniest part is? My ID. This might just be a California thing. My ID is still vertical. It's the one that I got when I got my first driver's license. I actually have to get it updated now.
Oh.
So my ID has 16-year-old Slayer on it.
My vertical ID is somewhere, but that's actually just because it was an identification card, not a
driver's license.
A driver's license.
Yeah, my driver's license.
Thank you to Florida. Anyway, what's the prop? What's the prop? What are we? Do you want us to wait until afterwards?
No, it's later. It's later.
Okay.
I'll time it up.
Okay.
I'll time it up. I should have just gotten it earlier. I mean, we cycle through. Listen, guys, these highlights are pretty one-sided. Like Nongshim, is that how Jiwoo died? He stepped onto a trap. He had no idea. He was like, yeah, that's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah.
That's something funny.
This is how they kind of got back into the game, but it felt like every time that Weibo tried to find something, the next 3 minutes afterwards, this is the most tragic part. They have very little vision. There's no help here. There's so much focus from Weibo to try to get on the Nongshim, but it just wasn't enough. And I think we can say that about a lot of Weibo's games. It's just not enough. Not enough of either getting our jungle support to move around. Not enough of Light having an advantage with this Caitlyn and Elise.
You know what? What I learned here was that never pick Elise support.
True. I tried to tell Yanni earlier, but that didn't work.
You could tell him with more power if you get hired as a positional coach, because
I
also campaign against the Elise because I don't want to play next to it.
There you go.
All right, what are we thinking MVP here for the last one of this series? I mean, is this a team MVP? It feels like a team MVP. If you could give one
might be a team MVP. It's probably going to be a King and MVP though.
Okay. Yeah,
King or Gideon? I don't know.
I think it might be Gideon. I mean, Gideon's stat line was pretty gross.
Yeah.
I almost want to give it to him just for the Spirit Visage second. I actually love that.
Here we
I loved it
go.
more because I loved it more because Alk supported it. That's always good to have your opinions tied to other people's opinions. Hey, there we go. Gideon gets it. All right, MVP to Gideon gets on the board there, and Nongshim are on to the semifinals. Congratulations to them. We will see them later tonight, and by we, I'm talking about you in the LPL English. I am not talking about myself and Alk, as Alk thankfully gets to retire half of his job tonight. He will be dipping out as co-caster. We will be bringing in Rafa and K-Man, and this is the best part of the night for me personally as I come to a close. That means that I get to use one of these things, a pillow, and none of our other casters too. So wake up wide, Rafa and K-Man, because after this break, we're coming to you guys live for D plus Kia versus BFX.
What's up, y'all? We are getting back into the action for our Asia Invitational coverage here on the LPL English broadcast. My name is Mark Rafa Alexander Honoramide. I'm joined here by the one and only Super K-Man Rocks. We got Rafa and K-Man on the broadcast duo once again. It feels like it's been forever since we've casted together, so I gotta dub us the Raw Man duo, and just to really celebrate it and coin it together. Now it is BNK Fear X taking on D plus Kia. An LCK special, if I do say so myself here, K-Man.
Oh yeah, I mean, we are really getting the cream of the crop here with the teams at this tournament going head to head. I think that there is a strong case to be made that